Boy, we have got that stop-and-go building already around the downtown loop. In fact, it's complete stops before you get going again. If you're eastbound South Loop over to 65, then westbound 40 at Fessler's Lane. That is a big-time delay right there. Probably just volume. I don't see any crashes or anything like that on the interstates. I'm Ken Weaver.
All right, kids, here we are. Here we go. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Matt Murphy, and this is a Friday edition of the Matt Murphy Radio Show. Pleased you've decided to join us on this September 12, 2025. Let me get the pleasantries out of the way and kind of signpost you as to where we're going today. Obviously, we've got Fry J in the 4 o'clock hour, our usual visit with our good friend, legal correspondent, my best buddy, my gambling partner, Jay St. Clair. He's on at 4:05 this afternoon, answering any and all of your legal questions. We're going to have a nice conversation because Jay literally teaches class on this subject at the Cumberland School of Law in Birmingham, Alabama, regarding the First Amendment and what the First Amendment is about, what is allowed, what is impermissible, and what it is all about in terms of your relationship with government and how it does not have anything to do with your relationship with your boss, your employer and whatnot. And we're going to have that conversation actually before Jay gets here in the next hour. And I'll tell you a little more about that coming up in a moment. It's day 238 of Donald Trump's second term as president of the United States of America. I like to remind liberals that you've got a long way to go, 1460.5 to be precise in term number 2. I just throw that out there to freak the liberals out in the listening audience. You can listen or watch on Spotify, on TuneIn, on iHeart. Obviously, we're on your radio dial at 99.7 FM. And then there's Talk TV, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and Rumble for you masochists in the listening audience that want to enjoy my ugly mug while we're doing the radio show. You can do that on Talk TV. Just give us a like, a thumbs up, and subscribe if you desire. It's episode 883. Ken Weaver's back in News Closet B, gathering headlines as we speak, delivering them twice an hour. Hello, Mr. Weaver.
How about you boys?
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Who's your team playing this weekend?
We're playing the Temple Owls, and I'm afraid that John Chaney might be up in the stands and threaten to kill us.
What?
Remember that?
John Chaney?
Yeah, their basketball coach that time he threatened to kill Calipari.
Oh, yeah. Watch out now. You better watch out now.
He said, I'll kill you.
Yeah, you don't need to temper that down a little bit. The old Owls. You never look, when the Owls come to town, are they coming to Oklahoma?
No, we got to go to Philly.
Y'all are going there?
Yes.
Oh, you better throw those record books out of the window there, Ken. That's what they say.
Man.
That's what they say. I don't know who Georgia's playing this weekend.
Me neither. I think Tennessee's playing some, one of those mid, not hard to get into.
Oh, yeah.
Just easy admission, almost a sham college.
I know. I got admitted to the university.
Oh, then that means it's definitely a sham.
And I chose to go elsewhere. Thank you very much. We're going to have a nice conversation about universities, not about football necessarily. We might do some of that a little bit later on in the show, but we're going to have a good conversation about universities. Let me tell you something. I don't know if anyone else has noticed it. Obviously, what a tragic week it has been. We will continue to update you on the aftermath of the assassination of Charlie Kirk. We now have, since you and I have talked to last, we have a suspect, an alleged assailant in custody. The rifle that federal investigators believe was used in the shooting that killed Charlie Kirk contained ammunition inscribed with what one would consider to be motive, anti-fascist messaging. Utah Governor Spencer Cox confirmed that earlier today in a press conference. That if we didn't carry live, I know that we had pieces of that press conference on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I was watching it, and I continue to be. I don't know who Spencer Cox was. I didn't know Spencer Cox before all of this happened. But watching him operate in a time of great tragedy and distress, not just for his state, but for the United States of America and the world, I have been nothing but impressed as to how he has handled his business. Spencer Cox handled business earlier today very well. He puts it, and we're going to play some of this later on. He's putting it in ways that I think are graspable to people, even if they don't want to understand the complexity and the magnitude of the moment that we are experiencing in America. This isn't about agreeing with Charlie Kirk. It isn't about agreeing with Republicans or libertarians or conservatives or liberals. It's about the fabric. And I tried to express this to you earlier today or earlier in the week. Our very nature, our fabric, our philosophical foundation is the Declaration of Independence. And embedded in that philosophical foundation is an ability for people to freely and openly debate issues of importance to them without fear of reprisal from their government or without fear of political violence coming to them. And this moment in time is an inflection point, and I believe it will continue to be an inflection point. With that in mind, speaking of inflection points, we've got a lot of reaction to what happened Wednesday in Utah. And for the most part, I want to try to remind ourselves repeatedly, and I know that it's increasingly difficult, that for the most part, people have reacted in the same fashion. We are horrified with the events that happened in Utah. We are disgusted by the tragedy of all of it. We do not understand the madness that would lead someone to feel that they are empowered to do this sort of thing. We try to make sense, as I often say during these types of things, we try to make sense of the senseless, and we try to dissect what would lead someone to this sort of evil. And for the most part, most of us agree on most of this, that it is wrong, political violence is unacceptable, and I want to give a lot of my liberal Democrat friends the benefit of the doubt in as much as they've either outwardly said as much, publicly, privately, or whatever. But the number of people that are willing to publicly, you're dealing with two things here, right? You're dealing with what people feel in their hearts and what they think in their minds in a private setting. That's one thing. And I don't know that I quite understand how someone could think this way, where they would be glad that someone died, especially in this way. But those people are out there, and we understand that. You set that aside for a moment, and then you ask, what level of ego and hubris is there inside of some of these people that they're not only thinking it, they're willing to say it. They're willing to publicly declare it and almost dare someone to say something back to them. And that's going to be the primary subject of our conversation in the beginning hour of the show today. And we welcome to this point onto the show a gentleman that I've had opportunity to hear on Nashville's Morning News on the regular with Dan Mandis. He is Matthew Hurt. Dan describes him as a grassroots political analyst. He's also the director of the Leadership Institute. He's out of Virginia, but he's a Tennessee fella through and through. And he joins us in studio this afternoon. Matthew, thank you for being here.
It's great to be with you, Matt.
Give me your thoughts, just where we are right now.
I think the craziest part about this is, again, the willingness of people to dehumanize somebody they disagree with. I live in a community in Arlington, Virginia, where 90% of my neighbors vote for Democrats, vote for progressives. I'm on the receiving end of shouting at polling locations and things like this. But when I was chairman of the Young Republicans in Arlington, I would do joint events with the Young Democrats. When I was a student at Middle Tennessee State University, I would do joint debates with the college Democrats. We are so far past that, and it is kind of a terrifying place to be right now. And I think that what the governor said in Utah, go out and touch grass and get to know people, that is something that I think we really have to do in our neighborhoods, in our churches, in our businesses, to go out and talk to one another as humans. If we're able to dehumanize somebody we disagree with, call them a Nazi, call them a fascist, it becomes really easy to commit violence against that individual.
Well, and you combine that aspect of this with the anonymity that social media presents to so many people. They consider themselves to be relatively anonymous on social media platforms, and in that I've long said that anonymity breeds cruelty. or at least it brings it to the surface. And I think it also breeds it in the sense that when people feel like they are shielded behind their computer screens, they are more willing to say things that they would not say to that person's face were they sitting there having that sort of debate.
I think you're absolutely right there. And my social media presence, I use my full name, even in the comments section of news sites that I comment on. And I think that it takes, I'm going to stick to what I said. I'm going to put my name to it, and then I'm going to go and say it in person to somebody. And what we saw with Charlie on campus on Wednesday was exactly the kind of political discourse. Charlie Kirk went to college campuses. They were places of open debate and honest discourse, and he allowed anyone who wanted to take the mic and ask tough questions to come and ask questions. Mm-hmm. And he welcomed them. He welcomed the opportunity. And I think that's what we have to do in our lives, again, in our communities, at churches, and at work.
You know, I said in the aftermath Wednesday of learning that Charlie had lost his life because of an assassin's bullet that it is particularly hard to grasp that he was doing so. What he was doing at the time that he lost his life, that he was inviting disagreement, inviting debate. He wanted that exchange. And I pushed back on this idea that we need to, quote unquote, tone down the rhetoric. We can have rhetoric that becomes heated. Most people understand the difference between rhetoric and violence. I would like to believe that more, apparently, I thought it was almost universal. Apparently, it's not so universal anymore. And sadly, there's one side on this, and I'm not trying to be unfair, but one side on the political spectrum seems to be more prone to this level of anger and violence, and that's the political left. And I'm sure that it is a complex way as to how they got there. But you're right. When you see leaders on the political left using that dehumanizing language, if you call someone Hitler long enough, someone who is mentally deranged thinks to themselves, well, why wouldn't I want to kill Hitler? Hitler is evil. It's that sort of thing that, I mean, we've reached a dangerous breaking point, and I don't know where we go from here.
You know, I do think there's a dichotomy in our politics. I'm not a psychologist. I don't play one on the radio. But for the most part, people on the right, conservatives, libertarians, Republicans, they just want to be left alone. And so if you can go out and build a business, if you can provide for your family, if you can make the mortgage, if you can save for retirement, you're going to be happy. People on the left, particularly people who are politically inclined, they want someone to control your lives, be it in Nashville, at the state capitol, or in Washington, D.C., or at city councils and county commissions. And if politics is, if electoral outcomes are dictated by whether or not people want to be left alone or people want to control your lives, the people who want to control your lives have a higher stake in the game. And I think that it leads to outcomes like what we've seen. It's very dangerous. I was a Ron Paul libertarian in 2012. And I said just earlier, I just want to be left alone. But they're not going to leave us alone. And now we're engaged in this kind of discourse.
Well, and for the longest time, and I've been doing this for, the better part of a quarter century now, I'm sad to say. For the longest time, I felt like liberals just thought us to be children, to be controlled, particularly those who are politically minded. And now I'm beginning to believe that they either think we're children or they think that we're bad people. And it's that aspect of this that concerns me most. It's not that we have bad ideas. I fight against ideas. I said earlier today on a different radio show that I was doing this morning that I strongly disagree with, and I would dare say I hate some of the ideas that the progressive left presents because I think that they will be fundamentally bad for the human rights of the American people. AOC, Bernie Sanders, etc. But I don't hate them, and I would never wish ill on them, and it would never occur to me to wish ill on them. And sadly, we see this growing amongst mainstream liberals that they present this, they hide behind the idea of, oh, we never threatened anyone or, oh, we never wished these things to happen to people. But they understand that their platform presents itself to people who might be mentally predisposed to act on what they think they're being told to do.
Well, and in addition to that, I've thought politically that most people whom I disagree with are not evil, but just wrong. And that is where we can have conversations. But you have folks on the fringes who may be unwell, who may be radicalized online, or who may be engaged in who knows what, who then make it out into the public sphere, where decent people on all sides who just want to show up to hear a speech, who just want to show up to see a politician speak, who just want to show up to support their favorite cause or candidate, and the folks on the fringes are making it. We're seeing some real difficult situations where people are really getting spun up in a way that makes it dangerous.
Well, you obviously, I've been following you on social media on the X machine for a long time. And the other night, I saw your post first about your alma mater, MTSU. I want to take a short break and then get into that for just a moment, because there was some quick action taken after several posts that you made that night. It's 21 after the hour. Matthew Hurt's with us. We're going to be joined by Michael Lotfi a little bit later on. Michael Lotfi took it upon himself to highlight an issue going on at Cumberland University. We've had 3 of them at least now, where either deans or professors in the state of Tennessee have outwardly posted things that were just simply out of bounds in terms of public discourse, and they're feeling the consequences of those actions today. We'll talk about that next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, friends, Matt Murphy for Genesis Diamonds. Genesis Diamonds is your one-stop shop for all things diamonds in our community. And friends, I want you to get over to Genesis. If you have a birthday coming up, an anniversary coming up, maybe it's a just because that you're looking to do, Genesis has the diamond for you. The experts at Genesis Diamonds are passionate about what they do, and they will show you all of the inside tips and tricks of the trade, how to maximize value when it comes to the diamond buying process. Oh, by the way, they don't work on commission, which is nice. Because you don't feel like they're trying to upsell you on anything. Secondarily, they have a better selection at Genesis than anywhere in the Southeast. I would put them against any store in the Southeast and maybe even the United States of America. Genesis Diamonds, no compromises there. Green Hills and Cool Springs. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you to the one and only Genesis Diamonds.
Charlie Kirk suspect in custody. Memphis Mayor Paul Young not a fan of President Trump's announcement this morning. We've got all that and more at 3:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, thank you, Ken Weaver. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Okay, go back to where it was. I said it wrong. I did it wrong. My bad. Thank you.
Your fault.
Yeah, it's always my fault there, Jackson. Young Jackson Williams behind the glass, making sure that everything that comes out of our speakers sounds as good as humanly possible against the better judgment of the host. Matthew Hurt is with us in studio. We're going to be joined by Michael Lotvey coming up in just a couple of minutes. Let's discuss what happened with the assistant dean at MTSU. Just give me the how you, I'm assuming you follow all things MTSU, being a graduate. Just talk to me about it, Matthew.
You know, I do follow all things MTSU. I've got a political science and history degree from MTSU. I graduated in 2009. I had some of the best liberal political science professors of my life. We're still friends today. And this assistant dean of students, this woman who encounters and engages with students all the time, she and I are Facebook friends, or we were Facebook friends. And on Wednesday, she took to Facebook to celebrate Charlie Kirk's assassination and to say that he had reaped what he had sown. And I thought that was pretty outrageous, and it was very personal to me. The work that I do full-time is actually alongside Turning Point USA. Having been from MTSU, from Murfreesboro, I said, I think I can do something about this. And so I screenshotted it and tweeted it, and within a matter of, I think, 4.5 hours, MTSU President Sidney McPhee had made the decision to let her go.
And what a good decision that it was. I mean, and really the right and only decision that you can make, considering what was said. I don't understand what a college professor, or in this case, an assistant dean, wouldn't understand about the reaction that they're going to get from this post. Do they, in your experience, feel immune to the consequences? You know,
even the subtitle of her Facebook profile was, "The views expressed on my Facebook page do not represent my employer." Well, that isn't a disclaimer that really works most of the time, because we are inextricably linked to our employers and to our public presence. But, it was so different than even the liberal professors in the classrooms I sat in for 4 years at MTSU, where we could disagree and we had robust conversations in the classroom, but never were they hateful, and as hateful as that. And I'd seen her posts over the years, and this was the one that really escalated to something that was actionable. I knew that at some point she was going to post something that would raise enough awareness to cause an outcry.
Did you know her?
I interacted with her regularly when I was a student at Middle Tennessee State University.
So do you feel like the left, especially on college campuses, has their activism been magnified by Donald Trump? Has it grown because of the presence of Donald Trump in the political world? I mean, it feels like somewhere along the way things have changed. I like to say it this way. I lost several friends after Donald Trump became president of the United States. They just did not want to associate with me anymore. They know what I do. They're liberal. They're leftist. But we've been friends since college. I mean, and these are friendships that were 20 and 25 years strong. And I lost them, and it bothered me for a while until I realized I didn't change. I'm willing to leave politics at the door in terms of our friendship. They changed. And I'm wondering if that's been your experience too.
I think during the first Trump administration, there was more left of center activism on campus. I think now it breaks down along gender lines. Young men under the age of 25 are leaning toward conservatism, right of center, Donald Trump, and young women are the opposite. If you look at the crosstabs on the poll numbers, most young men want a family and to provide for somebody, and most young women don't want that. And so we're seeing that play out in the culture, and we're seeing it play out on college campus.
All right, Matthew Hurt is with us for the hour. Michael Lotvey is just going to join us here in just a moment, right after the newscast, and we look forward to your comments and conversation at 615-737-9986 on the Super text line primarily. Don't forget Friday coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. It's The Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes.
This is a special report from ABC News. I'm Michelle Franzen. 2 days after a gunman fired off one shot, hitting and killing conservative activist Charlie Kirk at a speaking event at Utah Valley University, Utah's Governor Spencer Cox today says they have a suspect in custody, identified as Tyler Robinson. The governor credited the 22-year-old's family for reaching out to law enforcement. Cox also says authorities analyzed spent and unspent cartridges from a rifle found in the woods near campus.
Inscriptions on a fired casing read, "Notices bulges, capital OWO, what's this, question mark. Inscriptions on the 3 unfired casings read, "Hey fascist, exclamation point, catch, exclamation point."
FBI Director Kash Patel says there was an overwhelming public response with over 11,000 leads. Patel says there's no indication so far anyone beyond Robinson was involved in the killing. A motive is still unknown. This is ABC News.
Memphis Mayor Paul Young, not a fan of President Trump's announcement this morning on Fox News. He's going to deploy the National Guard to the city to curtail crime.
We're seeing double-digit percentage reductions in crime across the board, and I believe that what we should do is double down on those strategies that we know work.
Yeah, he wants more funding instead of the National Guard. Meanwhile, the Memphis Police Department claiming major violent crime is down by over 17% in the first 6 months of this year compared to the same period last year. And right now, outside of Chicago, a suspect has been fatally shot, an ICE agent severely injured during an enforcement operation. Channel 5 Chicago reporter Regina Waldrop from Franklin Park.
Here's what multiple law enforcement agencies are telling us. They were about to pull someone over when the person took off and an agent was then dragged. We don't know what agency the agent worked for, but the car has a lot of front end damage.
A high school in the area is on secure status. And that's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Right now, westbound of 40 in between the eastern split and downtown is a literal parking lot. I mean, you're coming to complete stop. Same goes for eastbound 440 between 65 and 24, and then eastbound South Loop downtown. It's getting heavier going northbound on 65 up to the South Loop. I'm seeing a crash in Bellevue. This is on I-40 westbound there at exit 196, then 40 westbound at Jefferson Street, and a crash reported now blocking the right lane, 65 northbound just past Armory Drive. I'm Ken Weaver.
Hey, friends, we've reached that fall season where it's time to think about, it is time to worry with the Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply and fall herbicides and fall seeding. Friends, I encourage you to do just that. Go over to Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply's website at dickensupply.com and find out how they can assist you. And here's the deal. They have better pricing on the herbicides. They have better pricing on the fertilizer. They have better pricing on everything you need. Bottom line is this. They've got the pros, right? I don't know that I can trust some of the professionals at some of the big box stores because I don't know that they know what they're talking about. But at Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply, they most certainly do, and they can assist you in any and every regard. If you're ready to get your lawn ready for the wintertime, it's time to get to Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply, your local source for fertilizer, weed control, insecticide, and everything else. 7 convenient Middle Tennessee locations: Nashville, Bellevue, Murfreesboro, Brentwood, Moore, Hendersonville, Mount Juliet, and Franklin. DickensSupply.com online. DickensSupply.com. Hey, friends, Matt Murphy for Savory Spice. If you're out and about over the course of the weekend, if you're looking for something delicious to pop on the grill in the aftermath of the football game or whatnot, I invite you to get to Savory Spice. Holly and David and the team at Savory Spice are great at what they do. And what they do, they provide incredible spices, seasonings, salts, peppers, all the like. I mean, you up your food game by upping your spice game, right? And you up your spice game at Savory Spice. Don't trust the big box stores. Don't trust that clumpy spice that you have in the back of the cupboard. Go to Savory Spice. They also have great meal ideas. The Spice and Easy line of meals are available to you. So if you don't know your way around the kitchen or you just don't have time to cook a meal, they've got some 30-minute meals, some 45-minute meals that are absolutely delicious, and the spices are pre-packaged for you, so you don't have to worry about any of that. Plus, gift-giving ideas for the chef or the person that loves the kitchen in your life at Savory Spice. Go by and see them just off the square in Franklin, next to Gray's Pharmacy. Tell Holly, David, and the rest of the crew that Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice. Positioning my guests here. We got a full house. I got, I deal with a lot of egos around here, Jackson. A lot of egos, not just my own.
Including mine.
Yours, mine, Weaver's. And then and now I got Lotfi complaining that he looks shorter than Matthew Hurt. And I don't know what to tell him. I mean, I guess that's just you're not accustomed. You're a tall drink of water. You're not accustomed to coming off shorter than anybody else. What's up, Michael? How are you?
What's up, Matt?
You all right?
I'm fine. I'm doing really well.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being a part of this kind of roundtable discussion, along with Matthew Hurt, Michael Lotfi, of course, with Americans for Prosperity. And you jumped in here. A lot of common sense folks are jumping in and saying, you know what? You can feel the way you want to feel about things, I suppose, in the United States of America, even if we consider them horrific and nasty thoughts. But when those thoughts become actions and actionable, that changes the thing that we're dealing with. And you had a similar experience. We were talking about Matthew's experience with MTSU, this assistant dean. You noticed that there was a professor at Cumberland that was kind of espousing some similar type language. Talk to me about it.
Yeah. Well, I want to be clear. When I saw this was sent to me because my niece goes to Cumberland. Her boyfriend does as well, which is, of course, in Lebanon, Tennessee, just down the road. When this was first sent to me, if I hadn't seen what Matthew had done with MTSU and done so quickly, I probably wouldn't have done anything with it. But I saw Matthew and I said, to heck with it. Like, let me give it a try. So I took a play out of his playbook. So I want to give him credit for being so quick and driving the ball so hard to get results at MTSU. And, the situation at Cumberland was we had this radical leftist professor who's a male and shows up to teach classes in dresses and so on. And there have been complaints against this professor for years, from what I understand, not only from students, but from faculty as well, where this professor has been, giving students he disagrees with poor grades. He's gotten a ton of complaints on him, apparently. Well, he thought it would be appropriate to praise the death of Charlie Kirk on social media. And so, of course, it upset a bunch of students because they already feel uncomfortable being forced into this professor's classroom because obviously Cumberland's a small university. It's not like you have 10, 15 different professors to choose from. So they're being forced into this guy's classroom. They've been made to feel very uncomfortable by him for a number of years and have complained to university administration, and nothing's ever been done about it. And the worst part of all is that as we continue to look into this individual, we found more very concerning posts from this individual, Dr. Rex, who literally was fantasizing about murdering his own parents and said publicly on social media that if he could get away with it and not get caught by police, he would have murdered his own parents.
What?
Yeah. Like, I mean,
this is a professor at Cumberland University?
I think the most egregious part of all is that this is a professor of English and creative writing, and he's not even using proper grammar or spelling, which is a whole nother separate issue, right? But it just kind of goes to show like this type of culture, on this cultural rot in academia, right? This guy can't even spell and write a proper sentence, and yet somehow he is the director of creative writing and English at a private university just down the road in a very conservative community, which is Lebanon, Tennessee. And so, you know, we didn't take a stand for it. Like I said, I saw what Matthew did. I was very inspired to act thanks to Matthew. And so, you know, I started tweeting about it. We sent it to Senator Marsha Blackburn, who took the ball, ran with it for us. And as I understand, was even having conversations with the Trump administration about it. So we thank Marsha Blackburn for her action on that. Also sent it to our good friend Robbie Starbuck, who helped elevate it as well and really make it go viral. And, you know, I do know for a fact that because, again, my niece goes there, the students were trying to plan a protest today, and the university decided that they would shut down classes today, close the university to try to keep students off campus so they couldn't protest so that they could protect this guy. It's just so egregious. And so finally...
do you believe that Cumberland's initial reaction was to try to protect him?
I know for a fact it was, because we got emails that they had sent to parents who were complaining that basically said, well, he said it's sorry, he was sorry, let's move on. And so when they didn't take that answer, and when students and parents decided they were going to show up and protest, they tried to shut down the university. It literally took Senator Blackburn, myself, the inspiration from Matthew, Robbie Starbuck, and then also other local officials. I know Representative Ogles or Congressman Ogles got in on this, but also I know that the literal mayor of Lebanon, Tennessee, Rick Bell, had to get involved in this. Had there not been that pressure, had Matthew not did what he did to inspire me to act, that guy would still be there today. They did everything they could to protect this guy, and if it hadn't gone viral, if it hadn't become a national narrative, he'd still be there today scaring the living daylights out of these kids in his classroom.
Matthew, what do you think it is about the academic world that they believe they are above the natural consequences that we in the real world, if you will, would experience if we did something like this? I just don't understand the mentality.
Well, I mean, academia is a bubble anyway. I always think of this quote from somebody who didn't vote for Richard Nixon. Said, all my friends on the Upper East Side didn't vote for Richard Nixon. How is he the president? These are individuals who are completely insulated from reality of their campus. And this is something that frustrated me at MTSU for years. Rutherford County and Murfreesboro, traditionally pretty conservative community, but MTSU, I mean, they had high-dollar Republican donors for a long time who said, oh, the MTSU isn't doing anything wrong. Some of the wildest, most left-wing activities, Students for a Democratic Society organizing on campus when I was there, and other left-wing activities. And there is a shielding of the real world from academia, and they believe that you know, they don't know a Trump voter, so they can't sympathize or empathize with a Trump voter. They don't know somebody who was an electrician like my father, working at an electric utility for his entire life. They don't know somebody like that, so they can't empathize with somebody like that.
Well, and the level of bullying, either verbal or implied bullying that goes on college campuses is insane. And I talk to the younger generation, and I think it's less than it used to be. And I think we have Charlie Kirk, Turning Point USA, other organizations. I think AFP has reach out programs to the younger generations. I think we have those organizations that get on these college campuses to thank for that, because, you know, if you're a young conservative on a college campus full of liberals and you have your professors who are all liberal, and I mean, there is a natural predisposition just to stay quiet and not speak up against these types of things.
Yeah, and I think I was listening on the way in, and I think Matthew said something about the silencing effect, the chilling effect, if you will. And it's absolutely true. I mean, like I said, I got several messages from students who had this Professor Rex, Michael Rex, I believe is his name. You know, they had him as a teacher, and he made it very clear. This guy's teaching English, and yet he structured his class in a way to silence dissent, to infiltrate his worldview onto students. And there were obviously many conservative students that go to college there because they come straight from Wilson County. You know, it's the closest college. It's right there in their backyard. And so, again, because of, and what I was told is he would literally tell students, well, if you don't like my class, you don't have to take it. Go somewhere else. So it's like, well, yes, I do have to take it because you're basically the only option. Right. You know, so I have no
English
other choice.
101, Jack.
Yeah, and if you disagree with this guy, then
or Jill, or whatever your name is.
Yeah, English, exactly. Right. It's a required course. And so it's like, if you disagree with this guy, he literally has your future in his hands. And as I got from many students, he was giving them bad grades for work that was just the same as another student, and the parents and the students would take it to the administration. They'd do nothing about it. He was, like I said, again, showing up in dresses and stuff and trying to push his ideology onto students. They would complain. Nothing was done, and nothing would have been done again, had it not been for the pressure that we had to put on them, which I think is the saddest and scariest part of all. It's like I did send them an email and I said, look, I appreciate that you guys finally got to the right decision. It should have been like McPhee at MTSU. It should have gone without question.
McPhee was what, 4 hours?
It was about 4 hours, 11:15 on Wednesday.
And I would almost venture to say it was just he hadn't even heard about it yet. It was pretty quickly.
It's my understanding that it was as long as it took for him to hear about it,
right?
To get a statement out, to make sure that he legally could do it, to get a statement out there and to put the statement out.
Right. And Cumberland, on the inverse, did everything they could to protect this guy until the public pressure just became too much. It's
and
sad.
So just to be clear, because several have asked, I mean, the professor in question has been released.
Yes, he's been fired, along with, there was actually one or two other ones that have also been fired. Their comments weren't as egregious, per se, in my opinion, because, again, my fear with this individual, with Rex, was that he is literally fantasizing about murdering his own parents. And then cheering the death of an individual who shares the same worldview as many of the students who sit in his class. And so for me, that's why I chose to focus on him, because this is someone who's literally fantasizing about murdering his own parents, saying he would do it if he could get away with it.
You know more than I do, but someone on the super text line, 6164, said Cumberland University doesn't have classes on Fridays. I saw the closure announcement.
They have labs. And my niece herself, as I sent you the email, received an email from administration saying, do not come to school, do not come to your labs, because that is correct. They don't have a lot of their normal classes, but they do have Friday labs on campus.
So I don't relish any of this, because once again, you are allowed to think as you choose to think. You are allowed to speak as you choose to speak, as long as you're not putting other people and their rights in direct harm's way. At the same time, this idea that you are somehow insulated from consequence, I celebrate it in the fact that I hope that my friends on the political left, especially in academia, recognize that you can say whatever you want to say, but that does not mean that people are not going to act in a fashion in accordance to what they expect their university to be, what they expect their business to be. And why people don't understand this, that the internet is out there for everyone to see, is beyond me, but I hope they gain some sort of understanding because of this, Matthew.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing now is a correction in the discourse. I hope. That's where I hope we're going, is a correction. For the better part of 15 years, 20 years, conservatives got canceled, got eliminated. We're seeing a little bit of that legitimately in employment for leftists on campus and in other places. And I think, I hope that moves us toward a correction in the discourse that allows us to come back and sit down and talk to each other, just like the liberal professors at MTSU that I spent 4 years with and never had a conversation like what I saw posted on the assistant dean's Facebook page.
You know, there was a time, and it wasn't that long ago, where it felt like we could have these robust and even heated discussions and then say, we're going to just agree to disagree. Let's have another beer and let's enjoy the rest of our evening and be done with it. And it now feels like I'll just say one side on this can't handle it any longer. And I don't know what has broken them, except to say that, conservative ideas seem to be winning right now in America.
Right. Yeah. I think one thing that strikes me is, as I go back to the study from Rutgers University that came out last year, which, I think Charlie himself had even quoted at one point, and I just want to reiterate it because I think it's so striking and quite frankly, sort of scary. And to be clear, like Rutgers is not known as a bastion of conservatism. It's definitely a left-leaning university. And that study showed that I think it was 56% of those who identify as Democrat or liberals said that the assassination of President Trump would be justifiable. And 50% said that the assassination of Elon Musk would be justifiable. I think what's very I want to make there is a red line here, right? And the red line is like I am all for free speech. I think, as you said, Matt, like you're not free speech doesn't mean that you're insulated from the consequences. It means that we have a marketplace, and the market can decide whether or not it likes those ideas or not. And guess what? The market just decided on MTSU and at Cumberland that it didn't like that. And so the market dealt with it appropriately, right? But at the same time, the red line for me is like, I am a free speech absolutist. That being said, like you don't get to go out and say that we should be killing people and it's okay to kill people that you disagree with. I've been accused of embracing cancel culture now. I'm sure you probably have as well because of, the actions that we took here. Look, cancel culture from the left is like, oh, we're canceling you because you believe in this one random sort of little conservative idea, like you're not allowed to be here and so on. If you want to accuse us of cancel culture, it's like, well, I think it's a little different when you literally have a professor who is idealizing about murdering his parents and cheering the death of an individual and then forcing students to go sit in his class where he has the weight of their entire futures hanging over them. So
how much, and I want to start with you, Matthew, and then get to Michael, how much of this is magnified, exacerbated because of social media? I mean, I feel like social media has so much to do with this.
I often say Twitter isn't real life, or I guess I say X isn't real life now. And to a bit of that, from Wednesday night to today, I've had to remind myself of that. And all of this augmented pressure, if you just lowered your head for 48 hours, if you were that professor or this administrator, some of this could go away. I think it takes, we had a situation at a place where I worked several years ago where one of my colleagues went viral for responding to a Chelsea Clinton tweet. And it wasn't flattering. And I told my boss, he said, what do you think we should do about it? And I said, I think we should ignore it for 48 hours and people will have moved on to something else. And what do we move on to? We go outside. And I drove past 18 pedal pubs coming into the studio today.
Let's go.
So, sit down, meet with people, go out and join a civic organization. Join a club, go out for karaoke or whatever it happens to be and get to know folks in real life, because there is a difference between what you feel emboldened to say on the internet and what you will say to somebody with whom you disagree. And you may not even know in your workplace that the guy who sits across from you or the lady down the hall disagrees with you. But get to know them and figure it out.
And I want Michael to speak to this as well, but I'll say this. In the summer of 2020, in the midst of COVID, when the death of George Floyd occurred, and there was a lot of racial unrest, and there were media organizations that I believe were trying to stoke that unrest, I had to go on furlough because our Cumulus forced furlough on everyone within the company to prevent firings. And you couldn't, you just got told this was your week. And I was a program director of a radio station that just saw George Floyd broke out. And I'm like, I can't go. And they said you had to go. And I got on my motorcycle and I drove through Alabama and Georgia. And I made it a point to stay off social media, and I made it a point to go to small towns and talk to people, black people, white people, brown people of all stripes, of all socioeconomic backgrounds. And you know what I saw? I saw a lot of love. I saw a lot of people caring about one another. I didn't see what I was watching on CNN. I didn't see what I was watching on social media unfold. And it reminded me that the fabric of America is a much broader, more welcoming, more wholesome place than the internet suggests that it is.
Yeah, I would completely agree with that, Matt. I think at the end of the day, social media can be a tool for good, but more often than not, the algorithms exist to bring out the worst in us.
Yeah.
Because it's what gets the most clicks.
That's right.
Actually, we were at breakfast just the other day together, and the media was there, and they only showed up for one reason, because the protesters had called them. They wanted to film chaos so that they could sell ads. Right.
And they tried to do that.
And that is exactly how the social media algorithms are designed.
Yeah.
They're designed to stoke as much chaos and incite as much feelings of positive but mostly negative emotions to keep people addicted and doom scrolling, et cetera, so that they can sell ads.
Look, y'all are two of the good guys. You know how much we love you on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Matthew Hurt and Michael Lotfy, thank you for offering your opinions, and thank you for what you do on social media, holding those with power over our young people in the state of Tennessee accountable, and I appreciate both of you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. We'll be back in just a moment. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, folks. Matt Murphy, Alpha and Omega Computer Consultation. You know, they started their business in 1998. That's kind of like, it's not before the internet, but it was kind of before the internet became the internet, right? And so Michael has moved with the times. And when he began, it was all about your computer inside of your business, all about talking to each other, maybe some emailing going on, and you know, putting files and records and whatnot on computer systems. Now it's all about cybersecurity. It's all about hackers trying to get in on you and attack you in a ransomware fashion or a cyber attack fashion, and you need protection. Now, of course, they still do the regular IT work. They make sure your computer's running properly, your printer's running properly, your emails are running properly, but it's all about making sure that you don't get attacked. 14 separate cyber attacks happen, ransomware attacks happen every day, and most of them are to small businesses. If your IT contract is up, you need to call Alpha and Omega and my friend Michael. 615-784-0096, 784-0096, or online at ANO.net. That's ANO.net.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes.
This is a special report from ABC News. I'm Michelle Franzen. In Utah, a 22-year-old was arrested today in the murder of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Governor Spencer Cox says images and video released showing the suspect at Utah Valley University caused his family to come forward.
A family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident.
Calls are growing to stop the political violence. ABC's Pierre Thomas says law enforcement is facing new challenges.
Make no mistake, we're in the midst of an extraordinary time, a challenging time, and what law enforcement is telling me is that they're going to have to rethink their efforts of how to apply resources to try to get on the front side of individuals like this who may be planning acts of violence.
Some lawmakers have also voiced safety concerns. This is ABC News.
Right now in Tennessee, Memphis Mayor Paul Young, not a fan of President Trump's announcement this morning he's going to deploy the National Guard to the city to curtail crime.
I want to be clear, I did not ask for the National Guard, and I don't think it's the way to drive down crime.
Yeah, the mayor says the Memphis Police Department reports major violent crime in Memphis down by over 17% in the first 6 months of this year compared to the same time last year.
This is not a political stunt for anybody up here. We're talking about real lives. So despite the reductions that we've seen, the crime is still too high and there's still too many victims.
Yeah, despite the positive trends, Memphis still has the highest violent crime rate in the U.S., according to FBI data. Right now near Chicago, a suspect is dead and an ICE agent is injured. It happened during an enforcement operation outside the city in Franklin Park. Here's Channel 5 Chicago reporter Regina Waldrop.
Here's what multiple law enforcement agencies are telling us. They were about to pull someone over when the person took off and an agent was then dragged. We don't know what agency the agent worked for, but the car has a lot of front end damage.
ICE officers say they tried to arrest Silverio Villegas Gonzalez, who they say was in the country illegally and had a history of reckless driving during a targeted law enforcement activity. The ICE agent is in stable condition. And the rise of artificial intelligence tools is forcing schools to reconsider what counts as cheating.
High school and college educators say that student use of AI has become so widespread that they need to rethink how to assign and assess students. Many teachers tell the Associated Press that they have shifted all writing to the classroom. Some are returning to pen and paper exams to avoid cheating. Educators say AI is creating new confusion over what constitutes cheating. Students say they often turn to AI with good intentions for things like brainstorming or editing help, but sometimes it's hard to know where to draw the line.
That's Chuck Stevenson reporting and the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, still seeing some stop and go eastbound South Loop downtown, then northbound 65 to the South Loop. Brake tapping eastbound 440 over to 24, and then that continues on 24 beyond that point. In fact, there's a crash going eastbound on 24 right there at Briley Parkway, exit 54. And in Berry Hill, still got that crash right lane, or rather the right on-ramp lane block, 65 northbound from Armory Drive. I'm Ken Weaver.
All right, here we go. Hour number 2 of the Matt Murphy Radio Show gets started right now. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It is a First Amendment Freestyle Friday. Your calls are obviously important to us all days, and on this day particularly. Right now, however, we're about to break it down, and we're going to talk about the law with our man Jay St. Clair. We'll announce that just a moment from now. You're welcome to get in on the conversation. 615-737-9986, 615-737-9986 if you so desire. Love to hear from you. It's been a heck of a week. It's been a crazy week. Thanks to Matthew Hurt. Thanks to Michael Lotfeed joining us in the first hour of the show. Matthew was instrumental as a graduate of MTSU in calling attention to some of the behaviors. These are actions, friends, and actions oftentimes have consequences. Speech sometimes has consequences. You are not free of consequences with regard to your ability to speak openly in the United States of America. No one ever said that you were, and sadly, some have lost that concept. They don't really understand the First Amendment at all. Well, we're here to help. We are here to help. Now, before we get to Jay St. Clair, I'll just update you on exactly what we know today. Obviously, by now, you know that a suspect is in custody. There were several people saying, well, why are you saying alleged shooter? Well, we're saying alleged shooter because individuals from a criminal perspective are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Now, the court of public opinion is different. However, there are, here's what I would say. If we had cut and dried evidence in front of us, similar to what we had last week in this Charlotte, North Carolina situation, I don't feel compelled to use the word alleged there. We have been taught in the radio business. We have been taught, if you are on television as a television commentator, if you are writing as a journalist in publications, used to be called print, now we call it online, you are taught that you are to presume that the individual is innocent until they're proven in a court of law guilty. Otherwise, if that person ultimately is found to be not guilty, or they otherwise are not the perpetrator of the event, then they can come back on you if you do not offer a presumption of innocence in your commentary. They can come back on you and suggest that you were, in some way defaming them, smearing them, etc., and then there could be lawsuits or whatever. And oftentimes those lawsuits are not successful, but they do cost a lot of time and money. All of that to say that it is ingrained in me, doing this for the last 26, 27 years, that you offer a presumption of innocence unless I see things in front of me that clearly define that the individual was guilty of the crime committed. What we don't have is that evidence right now. I'm certain that the FBI is putting it together. I'm certain that the Utah officials are putting it together. So I say all that to say that we presume that they have their man. We don't know quite yet. We don't have the evidence laid out in front of us. but we do see video footage of this individual on site on the Utah Valley campus, etc. The ammunition inscriptions are getting a lot of attention in the news, as obviously it provides a certain level of motive for us. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives offered that information, 1 used casing and 3 unused casings inside of the gun contained writings on them of a provocative nature, and we have discussed some of those writings over the last hour or so as well. All of that said, it is time to turn our attention to legal matters. And you know what? From time to time, we have this conversation with our man, Jay St. Clair, and I absolutely love that he is here to clarify some First Amendment questions that some of you might have. But really, he's here for any legal question whatsoever. It's time for Friday.
Good morning, Americans. It's Friday.
Oh, yeah. He is a good Tennessee man, born and bred. He is my best friend. He is our legal correspondent. He is the answer of all things the law. He's my gambling buddy. He used to be my golfing buddy before I went and got my shoulder fixed, and now we can't golf anymore. But one way or the other, he's our Jay St. Clair. Jay!
Hey, buddy.
Jay, I've got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
How's it going?
You know, if I were any better, I would be my Secretary of Homeland Security.
How's she doing?
Well, we're having a real wrestling match going on. She's got an infection, so she's got to take 4 horse pills a day.
Ooh.
And German Shepherds are notorious for that kind of stuff. So it's like spy versus spy in the old Mad magazine.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had to develop all kinds of different strategies to get her to swallow these big 4 old horse pills.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, it's been a fair find. My latest trick is to wrap it up. I get sliced turkey. She loves sliced turkey.
Uh-huh.
And I get this big old horse pill, wrap it up in the turkey. Well, then she just spit it out. You know how they are. And so then I figured out, well, I need something to make it adhere to it a little better. So I put a little dab of mayonnaise.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And that makes it kind of stick to it. And then I roll it up so it looks kind of like a burrito.
Uh-huh.
and then, I'm batting about 500.
But with the old poo, you give the old spit out, or you think,
oh, yeah.
I just, I've been there, done that with John Henry. John Henry was the same way. You know John Henry.
Oh, yeah.
And he was the same way. He would identify a pill. Now, my two, Ms. Beasley and Munson, they eat whatever you give them, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He would identify a pill, and he would work through the food you gave him.
Right.
Eat the food and
spit it out.
Spit that.
Spit it out.
Have you tried cheese?
Oh, no, cheese doesn't work. No.
Oh, no, we're beyond cheese.
Well, I can stuff it down in sausage. Or what I've learned is I have to try different strategies.
Uh-huh, right.
Because once she gets onto one,
she gets wise.
Not going to do it.
She gets wise. Yeah, you get. Oh man, you got to change it up. That's the trouble when you get a smart one like Olivia.
Oh, no, shepherds are not. They're notorious for it.
John Henry was a sucker for. We finally settled on Vienna sausages.
Yeah,
and he was and you can get them in there. You can dig the pills in there. He was a sucker for those.
No, that's what I'm doing. I got link sausage and I'll cut it about 1 inch long, and then I'll slice the middle of it and stick the pill down in there. Microwave for 30 seconds. And she'll still spit it out.
Well,
she's amazing.
Well, I wish you better luck in that endeavor over the course of the weekend than I do your Tennessee Vols there, Jay. There's a lot of people.
Are they playing this weekend?
They are. There's a lot of conversation going on about that around here. I don't know if you know this, but there's a few Vols fans in Nashville. I don't know if you knew that or not. Weird.
Including one right here, man.
I'm all excited about it. It's Bristol, baby.
It's Bristol, baby. I probably would be going to Bristol if I weren't going over to Neyland tomorrow.
Oh, you're going to Neyland?
Yeah, I'm going to get in. They're going to let me in. I think I get to wear my red shirt, but I'm not sure. We're going to find out.
Well, have fun. That'll be great.
It'll
be a good day.
It'll be
Hopefully
good.
It's a good game.
I want you to tell, before we get into the law, before we start our conversation about the First Amendment, which I'm very excited about, will you do me the favor? We've got young Jackson is now the producer of the Matt Murphy Show, Jay.
Yep.
And Jackson, I'm going to just tell you this story real quick. Jackson's heard it like 28 times since it happened. But I was able to get a hand on some tickets, and then we had an extra ticket.
Oh.
And so guess who I gave my extra ticket to, Jay?
Jackson.
That's right.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
how about that?
sweet.
So, and I know that Jackson's Vol through and through, and I thought he'd want to be there.
Absolutely.
And it helps that I don't actually have to sit with him. I'm going to be somewhere else.
That's clever.
Yeah.
That's
So,
clever.
but I tell Jackson the other day, I was like, Jackson, I got you a ticket, and he's very excited. He's, oh yeah, Ryan Murphy, you're the man. And then like 5 minutes later, Jackson comes to me and says, "Hey, is it okay if I ride home with you?" And I'm like, "What?" And he said, "Well, my buddy that I'm going over with is staying the night, and I've got to work Sunday, the Tennessee Titans game, and I got to be back. And do you mind if I ride home with you?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, Jackson, let me check." And I checked with E, and the rule was no yakking in the car.
Well, the First Amendment is not going to apply to that car ride.
Well, we're about to talk about that. That's where I'm going with this. You know exactly where I'm going.
Right.
So no yakking in the car and no jibber jabbering if the Tennessee Vols win.
Yeah, well, come on, Jackson. You got to be a gentleman about it. I've said for years, I've debated, are Alabama fans worse winners or losers?
Ooh.
And they're not good at either one.
They're not.
But I have decided they are worse winners than they are losers.
I agree.
And so don't be that guy.
Don't be there.
If Tennessee wins, just don't say anything about it. It hurts more, frankly, if you just don't say anything.
Oh, that's sage wisdom from our man Jay St. Clair.
And I respect his wisdom, and I appreciate it more than he knows.
You're pushing it away. You're pushing it away right now.
Has not had to listen to you all week.
Oh, Jay, you know me. Jay, you know how soft-spoken I am about these types of things. Right. Well, here's the worst part of it, though. So Jackson says, can I get a ride home? And I said, yeah, okay, fine. Yeah. You can get a ride home. And then 5 minutes later, he comes back. And you know what he said, Jay? He goes, hey, Matt, can I get a ride there, too? And I'm like, Jackson, do you
Well, Jackson, you want to just let him watch the ball game for you, too? I just go ahead and let him cover it all.
I told him, I said, you need some snack money, buddy? And you know what he said? Yeah, if you got a couple bucks, I could use some of that, too.
Popcorn's expensive these days.
And especially at Neyland Stadium. All right.
Well, Jackson, pay these prices, but pay no more.
Oh, that's
if you don't know what that's from, you need to study some Tennessee history.
You taught me that, Jay, years ago in Birmingham, Alabama.
Yeah.
That was the old announcement at the stadium, right?
Absolutely. No, it was just very classic. There's so much history. And, of course, all FCC schools have it. But yeah, we waited for that. It was always during the pregame. And they tell you about the concession stands. And the prices are posted on the outside. Pay these prices, but pay no more. And a crowd erupts.
I love it. All right, let's get into some legal talk in a moment with Jay St. Clair. We're going to walk through the First Amendment because I think there's a lot of people that are rather confused. They're unemployed today and confused as to why they're unemployed today. We're going to help them out. It's 21 after the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey friends, Matt Murphy for Cover Nash. Shane Ring is the man with the plan when it comes to your health insurance, and I cannot impress upon you enough. If you've got any questions, do not be worried about talking with Shane. I understand that you've been conditioned to concern yourself that if you talk to an insurance guy, they're going to be trying to sell you insurance during the entire conversation. Shane works differently. It's why so many people have gone to Shane for their insurance problems, why they've gone to him for sage wisdom and advice, and why they utilize Cover Nash as their go-to point person as a concierge for the insurance industry. Shane's not trying to sell you a particular product. He's trying to find you the right insurance for you, and he has that at his fingertips. And he can assist you in finding what's right and what's wrong with your insurance and try to help you navigate that minefield. That's what it's all about with Shane Ring and Cover Nash. Now, they've got great programs available for you. They know about these programs that I had no awareness of, and they can tell you about them. Programs with $250 copays for outpatient surgery, deductibles as low as $250. That's right. It's possible. Go to covernash.com, covernash.com, or call 615-465-0023, 465-0023 for Cover Nash.
Charlie Kirk suspect in custody. Memphis Mayor Paul Young pushing back on the National Guard. And safety's a growing concern with more people going downtown, whether it's Lower Broad or Titans game day. Going to tell you about some traffic changes downtown to make it safer. Coming up at 4:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. There's Ken Weaver back in News Closet B. Jackson Williams behind the glass. Action Jackson, also known as Apple Jacks, also known as Y2J. What am I missing? J Willie is another one, and then Fraction Jackson.
And then a bunch that you can't say on the radio.
Well, we'll save those for Saturday night. He's behind the glass, making sure that everything that comes out of our speaker sounds as good as possible. And then Jay St. Clair, we're in the midst of Friday. Jay, I don't think anything that you've spoken about, I mean, I don't know if you know this, Jay, but you coming on Fridays is one of the most popular segments I do in any given week.
Thank you for sharing that with me, man.
I mean, people love you, and I love you too. And you get a lot of reaction when you come on. Mostly very positive, and sometimes people want to challenge you and nitpick. Well, that's fine. That's all good.
Well, that's what I do for a living.
I don't know that we've gotten a bigger reaction than you talking about Olivia not wanting to take pills.
Oh, no. Well, that's I figured. I mean, have you cleaned out yet the filter in your dishwasher? I've been meaning to.
I have not.
Every week I try to bring something, man, that will be interesting.
My favorite, and I'm gonna throw out a couple of these for you, but my favorite is 2489 wrote in and said, "Man, before long, Olivia will be a sushi snob." That's good.
Well, that's funny because I'm boiling shrimp tonight, and so I've been thinking about how I can stick a peel down in the shrimp because I think she probably eats them in one bite.
There's a lot of people that think they have the solution. Tell Jay he has to crush up the pill and shove it into some cheese. Okay.
Here's the problem, though. These horse pills I'm talking about, they have that plastic cover on, so you can't crush it. So I thought about taking the pill apart, but I think that plastic's there for a reason, is to dissolve it in the stomach and not in the mouth.
Yeah.
And so I'm worried that will interfere with its efficacy.
Mm-hmm.
Then I go talking like a lawyer. So no, the crushing is not an option.
Somebody said, chase it with another slice of turkey. She'll see that second piece and swallow that first slice to get to the number two.
No, absolutely. I don't chase. You put the real one out there first. It's just like bait. I put one out there without anything in it. And she says, "Oh, okay, the coast is clear." And then I put one out there with it in it, and she spits it out.
Maybe try the reverse. Try to put the one out there with the pill in it first.
Oh, no, she sees it coming. I figured this out. I tell you what the key is, and I remember this about German Shepherds when I got. Don't let her see you putting the pill in.
Oh, of course, no.
Because she sits there and watches and sees everything, and then it's over. I mean, it's over. So what I have to do is kick her out of the house and then do it. And then I put it down and wait 30 minutes. And then I'll just set it over on a little a plate down on the floor and don't say anything about it. And she's just wandering around the house. Oh, Daddy dropped some turkey.
Look here.
Man, I better eat this in a hurry.
John Henry was the same. John Henry hated a bath. I mean, hated a bath. And he was a big old boy, 125 pounds. And I learned early on, I got him one time outside with the garden hose.
Yep.
But then if he saw me handling the garden hose, I mean, I don't care if it was a bath or no, he's not having none of it. And he would go down to the bottom of the hill. Remember that hill I had in Helena?
Well, I remember it well. I want to ask you how many times you fell all the way down there.
Well, one of the few times that I almost fell down that hill was trying to go chase John Henry back up the hill to go take a bath.
That's a
big old hill. All right, we'll get to calls momentarily. We'll talk about the First Amendment. We've talked about pill popping too much, and we've got to get to the news. It's time for Ken Weaver in the newsroom on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes.
This is a special report from ABC News. I'm Michelle Franzen. Utah's Governor Spencer Cox identifying Tyler Robinson as the suspect in the fatal shooting of conservative activist Charlie Kirk.
We got him.
Authorities tracked the suspect's movements at Utah Valley University with images and in a video released showing a person running across a rooftop after the shooting. The governor says a family member of the 22-year-old reached out to a family friend who then contacted authorities about Robinson. And in Washington, Utah, neighbors of the suspect are now speaking out.
As Tyler Robinson was growing up, Kristen Schwerman says she knew him well. She lives only 3 doors down from the Robinson family and was a custodian at his elementary school.
He was a very quiet.
She says he did very well in school and scored high on the ACT test. She thinks social media changed him.
I think a lot of it's mental health problems we have.
ABC's Alex Stone. The FBI says it also located a gun near the campus. This is ABC News.
At Memphis Mayor Paul Young pushing back on President Trump's announcement he plans to deploy the National Guard to curtail crime in the city.
I want to be clear, I did not ask for the National Guard, and I don't think it's the way to drive down crime.
He cites numbers from the Memphis Police Department that claim to show major violent crime is down by over 17% in the first 6 months of this year over last. Despite that positive trend, Memphis still has the highest violent crime rate in the U.S., according to FBI data. And here in Nashville, safety's a growing concern with more people going downtown, whether it's Lower Broad or now Titans game day. Channel 4's Amber Giant says from now through October, there'll be lane closures from 8 o'clock until 2 in the morning.
There'll be closures on Lower Broadway, allowing a central lane for emergency vehicles. And on 4th Avenue at Commerce, there'll be a transit priority lane, allowing WeGo buses to get through some of the busiest routes downtown. For game day, the city will also team up with the Gray Line, where there will be designated spots to park and shuttle to the stadium for $20.
Yeah, WeGo, by the way, is offering free rides on all local bus routes on Titans home game days. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. I see a crash. Police working right now, 24 eastbound, just past exit 54. Then we got Briley Parkway eastbound right before Brick Church Pike in Whites Creek. Complete stops before you get going again. Eastbound 440 between 65 and 24. And then eastbound East Loop downtown, some of the same. Also eastbound South Loop downtown. And it looks like northbound 65 up to the South Loop is its usual slow go. Now, I'm seeing stop and go, too, if you are eastbound 24 before you get to the 65 merge there north of downtown. I'm Ken Weaver.
Jackson was just telling me that he gets his feelings hurt very easily, and I understand that. You know what hurts my feelings? Bugs and creepy, crawly, nasty things like spiders and stink bugs and ants and ladybugs and silverfish and roaches. Oh, no, thank you. You need to settle this thing. I don't want to get my feelings hurt about these bugs, so I take care of it with U.S. Pest. U.S. Pest is my one-stop shop for all things pest control in my home, and I want them to be in your home as well. They offer monthly service, and they provide excellent customer service when it comes to helping eliminate bugs out of your life with full-service pest control options with a 100% money-back guarantee, termite protection, both preventative and corrective service, and crawl space service available to you. If you're not satisfied with your current pest control, if you've noticed bugs even though you have service, or if you don't have service and you've noticed bugs, well, even if you don't, you need to get it with U.S. Pest. 590-1260, 590-1260, or online at uspest.com. That's uspest.com. Yes. We'll get to your calls momentarily. Just, Jackson, I need you to let me know which ones are. I think you've done that. Line 2, line 5, and, if any of the other lines besides 2 and 5 are of interest to me regarding Friday, we'll get to them presently. Otherwise, we'll get to your calls in the 5 o'clock hour regarding Charlie Kirk and some of the other situations that have been going on this week. I mean, clearly it's been just an awful week, and there's no other way to put it. But we're going to try to dissect this and break it down in a way that you can easily understand it with our man, Jay St. Clair and Jay. So, Jay, I love it when you talk to us about the First Amendment and you break it down in such a way that makes it so easily understandable, because I think people have this misguided thought process on the First Amendment now that they think that it gives them certain opportunity or certain rights that it simply doesn't. Just walk us through this and break it down for us.
Okay, well, let's start at 50,000 feet, because I like to do that. It applies only to the government. That's the first point. That's a point that a lot of people miss. I teach the law school class, and my second and third year law students don't know that. I'll ask them, can Walmart violate the First Amendment? Can Walmart say, sir, you can't come in here with that T-shirt with a rebel flag? Well, First Amendment. Well, I'm not the government, is what Walmart says. So it only applies to the government. So if anybody is losing their jobs in the private sector because of what they've said about this awful murder, well, then that's not First Amendment. It's just not applicable at all, man. It applies to the government. It says Congress shall make no law restricting the freedom of speech. And over the years, the Congress has been expanded to mean all of government, state and local governments, and all of them. Congress shall pass no law. No law.
Uh-huh.
Jackson, you listening?
Yes, sir.
How many laws do you think Congress has passed restricting the freedom of speech?
I'm going to go with 0.
No, many, probably hundreds.
Mm-hmm.
So no, Jackson, listen to this carefully. No does not mean no. This is why
lawyers get paid so much money.
This is one of the reasons people hate lawyers. Right. And why we make so much money. So some restrictions on speech are legal. And I think maybe the focus here is on the person at MTSU. And that's a state employer, and so the First Amendment applies. Well, First Amendment, well, there are exceptions. No does not mean no. And one of the exceptions is that if a public employee speaks as a private person, but as a matter of general interest, public interest, which is what's true here, the government can punish that speech if in the workplace it impairs discipline, or, listen to this carefully, Jackson, causes disharmony, or impedes the employee's duties. If a government employee goes and says something that just causes an uproar in the workplace, and people can't get along with each other, and the customers, the people, the public that deals with it, that don't want to deal with that person, then that university can fire that person for what they said. It's entirely legal.
Well, and which is what they've done at MTSU and what they've done at ETSU as well.
Yeah.
Two separate, and obviously the private university in Tennessee, Cumberland, that's kind of a different thing because
it's a totally different thing.
Right.
The First Amendment doesn't apply.
So I can't walk into Neyland Stadium and demand that not only everyone bark like a dog, but that they allow me to bark like a dog for as long as I can't demand that on First Amendment right.
That's a different test because you're not an employee of the state of Tennessee.
Okay.
But yeah, if you go into the classic thing is that I've forgotten one of the I remember Oliver Wendell Holmes. The First Amendment does not give anybody the right to shout fire in a crowded theater. Hey, Jackson, you still listening?
Yes, sir.
There is one occasion when it is protected to shout fire in a crowded theater. Can you guess what that situation is?
When there's a fire.
Yes, that's exactly right, Jackson.
Oh, right.
That's brilliant.
Publicly educated at the University of Tennessee, Jay.
Go Vols!
Man, that is. I am so proud of you. You can't shout fire in a crowded theater if there's no fire, because you're doing that just to cause a stampede and hurt people. And yeah, so if you do that in Neyland Stadium, that's going to cause an uproar. I will confess to you that there was a time long ago on Alabama-Tennessee weekend when me and my wife were up in Gatlinburg, and I'd maybe had a little bit too much to drink, and the Alabama people go up there and take over Gatlinburg on that weekend. That's just a known fact. And I got up in the middle of a restaurant, and I've made a lot of mistakes in my life that I'm terribly embarrassed about, and this is one of them, and shouted as loud as I could, "Around the bowl, down the hole, roll, tide, roll." And I got kicked out of that restaurant.
Did you really?
I did. And I was afraid I was going to get arrested, but I talked my way out.
What'd you yell again?
Around the bowl, down the hole, roll, tide, roll.
That's awesome. Oh, Jay, I you know what? I don't. We would have been even better friends if I'd have known you back in the day, or not friends at all.
You would have never guessed that I would done that.
No, that is not in your personality nowadays.
I've matured a lot since then.
That's awesome. I love it. I love the story of you jumping the chain link fence during the national championship game too.
Yeah.
I need to hear that story.
Jackson wants that in his life, Jay. You got a second to tell that story? Yeah, because that was
the time.
Yeah,
well, I tell you exactly when it was. It was 1998. It was the Florida game. It was the year Tennessee went on to win the national championship. And it was a tight game. I want to say maybe it went to overtime, because we talked about this recently. I can't remember the details of the game. I think it went to overtime. And maybe Tennessee kicked a field goal. And then Florida was coming down to kick a field goal to tie the game. Chuck, my son, who was 17, 18 at the time, we was sitting there watching. He said, "Dad, if Tennessee wins this game, I'm going on the field." I said, "Chuck, have at it. Absolutely, you ought to do it. It's something everybody ought to do one time in their life." And I think Florida missed the field goal. It may have been that Tennessee made it, but I think Florida missed the field goal. And my son and 104,332 people took off to get on the field. And I sat there and watched it for about a minute. And I said, I can't stand it. So off I went, and let's see, at the time, 58, 68, 78, so I was 40 years old. There's a 6-foot chain link fence you have to crawl over to get to the field. And, Chuck jumped over like a deer. Well, I didn't. And it was a struggle. But I made it and got out on the field, and it's a lifetime memory.
You didn't rip your britches, did you?
No, and there's pictures of people down at Auburn or something. They jump over it and they fall down the shrubbery or whatnot. No, I didn't fall down, which in retrospect is really kind of surprising. But it was a struggle. I had to hike my leg up and hike it up, and I couldn't get it. But I got it.
You got it. I love it. I absolutely love it. I always love that story. Let me get to Jack, who is on line 2 with a thought or a question regarding Fry J. Hey, Jack.
Hey.
What's on your mind?
I got a question. Hello?
Yes, sir.
I got a question for you. A couple of weeks ago, my daughter passed away, and she had been dealing with breast cancer. But she didn't. It wasn't terminal. As long as she had to go through the chemo and all that. You know what I'm saying? So they had a reasonable thing that she would be okay. Well, anyhow, she passed away in her sleep, and this was she lives near Little Rock, and the coroner came out, and of course she had her head shaved and all this from where she'd been going through the chemo. Anyhow, he came out and checked it, and he wrote down cause of death, cancer. So we wanted to contest that. Like, no, that's not right. We want an autopsy. Like, that doesn't make no sense here. Because, she was okay. She'd been weak from the, from the drugs and stuff. But anyhow, so we call them, and the coroner says, well, we can't do that because she's already been involved.
Oh, wow.
Okay? And so my answer, my question is, do we have any recourse here?
Wow. Jack, I will confess to you, that's the first time I've had anybody ask me that question. So I can't give you a learned answer to that. Let me think about that and look at that. You might have a claim, but boy, it's going to be a stretch, Jack. And here's part of the problem: you got to be able to prove some damages, money damages. And here's the problem: because she's been embalmed, you can't have the autopsy done now. There's no way to really prove that what the coroner said was wrong. But there's an emotional injury to you from not having this to be done. I've never heard of that happening, so I can't tell you what the law is, Jack. But I'm going to look at that, and then maybe we won't have time for now on the show. But I'll maybe text or send something to Matt. Maybe he can read it over here.
Yeah, and you send me anything, and Jack, if you hit me up on social media or via email, matt@murphyshow.com, I can I can connect you and Jay, or I can certainly relate that information to you once
my whole thing is this, Jay. Why did she die? We don't know that there wasn't something that the doctor did, or we don't know. So,
Jack, I understand everything about it. I am so sorry for your loss, and I'm so sorry that this got mishandled like this. And so I'm going to see if I can find some way to help.
Just hit me up via email, Jack, and I'll make sure you get the info. Okay.
Okay. Give me what's your email again?
Matt, MATT.
Yeah.
@ murphyshow.com. And that's just like you would think you would spell it.
Show.
Yeah. MURPHYSHOW.com.
Okay.
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 All right. Thank you, brother.
Appreciate it, guys.
100%. Thank you. Sorry. And yes, sir. Well, I'm not going to say that, but I'm going to say I'm sorry to hear about your daughter. That's awful. And by the way, my listening audience, they're on top of this. Jay, 1093 wants you to know that your memory has not failed you. That the Tennessee Volunteers defeated the Florida Gators 20-17 in overtime on September 19th, 1998.
Right. Yep, because Tennessee kicked the field goal in overtime, and then Florida went down to kick it and missed it.
Wow. So, on September 19th, 1998, I bet that's the last time that Jay St. Clair climbed a 6-foot chain link fence.
I bet you're exactly right. I bet you're exactly right.
All right. Is there anybody on the line there, Jackson, in particular to Jay? I don't know.
Line 4.
Line 4 is, we call them Steve and Dan. It's sometimes Steve and sometimes Dan, but it's always Steve and Dan. What's up?
Hey, Matt, how you doing?
Doing well.
Hey, Jay, first time we are able to talk to you. You can call us Shep, actually. We're Steve and Dan, but we're Shep. We're last name Shepherd from Owen, so just call us Shep.
Shep.
Okay. Anyway, we had the same situation with our mother. She had been free of cancer for 2 days, and fell that evening and hit her face and killed her. We found her in the morning. I'm sitting there I'm a medic and a nurse in the Army, so I tried to do CPR. So I cleaned her nose.
Yeah.
And which had blood stain all the way down where she had hit. Mm-hmm. Well, after the police department, the sheriff's office, and all that, they almost said after we told them they screwed it totally. I even went to the coroner, and he said, "Nope, you can't change it. I've already I even called the state, and we had a double indemnity policy." Which was,
What did they put as the cause of death?
Breast cancer.
Oh, wow. And she had been cleared of her cancer.
She had been cleared, been cleared 2 days. She had to take a pill for 5 days, for 5 years. She'd been cleared, fell, hit her head, killed her first thing in the morning. Yeah.
Well, I'm so sorry, but you heard the answer that I gave to Jack. And I just never have been faced with this situation before. I've never looked at it, but I am going to look at it, and I'm going to become the world's leading expert about it. And I will communicate that to Matt,
yes,
or if we don't have a chance to do it, when I come on next Friday, I will have the answer to this question.
Well, I'm very interested in what that answer will be. Thank you to Steve and Dan, a.k.a. Shep, for the telephone call. And, Jay, thank you for everything that you do for us. We absolutely love these visits together. The audience loves the visits together. And I wish you a wonderful weekend. Who you rooting for in Bristol?
I want to see, I think Larson's in, but Elliott's a little bit on the bubble. So I just want to see him get through.
Yeah.
I think SVG is a lost cause.
Yeah, I feel that way too. I mean, I really wanted SVG to get through the first round because, you feel like that second round, he's got that Roval and then who knows? But yeah, I love it. One way or the other, it's going to be fun to watch. Enjoy it, brother. Enjoy the weekend. And we'll talk to you next week.
Yeah. Good luck to the Dogs, man. Have a good time over at Neyland.
Well, thank you. We're going to have fun. We're going to have
it's a great place to watch football games.
Yeah, no doubt. Thank you, Jay. There's Jay St. Clair. Did you hear him before he left? He said.
I heard "Go Vols."
Is that what you heard?
Yes.
I thought it was dogs.
Come on, Jackson. You got to be a good sport about it.
Thank you, Jay. We'll be.
If I could get something to roll down with the Dogs, I'd say that. But I'll save that for Alabama.
Jay St. Clair, just in time to get him out of here at Super Talk 98.7 WTN. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy. And, Eurofix is such a great company. They've got such great staff at Eurofix. They understand how to fix your European automobile. And, friends, I want to tell you that one of the marks of a good parent, they warn their kids about danger, who to trust and who to avoid, and how to make smarter choices. I mean, we know that. Well, friends, at Eurofix, they repair European vehicles, and Eurofix believes in warning their customers, too. In one case, for example, Eurofix gave a refund check to a customer, over $5,000. Now, who does that? Well, Eurofix does that because they police themselves. They believe in honesty and integrity first and foremost. They're going to do the job the right way the first time. Not every auto shop will tell you the full story. Some will oversell you. Others cut corners. Some may not know what to do at all. You could pay for something you don't need at these companies. Eurofix will not do that to you. They make quality repairs at below dealer pricing and have since 1999. Get a free 15-minute no-wrench inspection and a 3-year, 36,000-mile nationwide warranty on all the work they do at Eurofix. Rental cars also available with every appointment. Stay on the road with Eurofix, family-owned and operated for over a quarter century. Call Eurofix today at 844-EUROFIX, 844-EUROFIX, or online at myEurofix.com.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes.
This is a special report from ABC News. I'm Michelle Franzen. After 2 days of an all-out search for the killer in the murder of conservative political activist Charlie Kirk, police in Utah announced an arrest today, naming 22-year-old Tyler Robinson as the lone suspect. It followed days of searching the campus and neighborhood near Utah Valley University and authorities asking the public for help in identifying a person of interest. Utah's governor says Robinson's family and a family friend reached out to police.
Video from the scene and still images from surveillance cameras pointed law enforcers in the right direction. But FBI Director Kash Patel says an overwhelming public response provided the key.
We have over 11,000 leads that were called in to the FBI. Every one of those leads will be run out.
Patel says there's no indication that anyone beyond Tyler Robinson was involved in Kirk's killing. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Authorities say they've also retrieved a rifle near the campus and analyzed cartridges and say some included engraved messages. This is ABC News.
Now, the mayor of Memphis making it known he's not a fan of President Trump's plan to deploy National Guard troops to his city.
I want to be clear. I did not ask for the National Guard, and I don't think it's the way to drive down crime.
But Mayor Paul Young can't stop it. Governor Lee released a statement saying he's grateful for the additional federal resources. Channel 4's Holly Thompson with more reaction.
Tennessee U.S. Senator Marsha Blackburn is backing the president's plans to send the National Guard there. Blackburn said the president answered her call to, quote, make Memphis safe again. She said she's worked closely with the Trump administration to bring additional resources to Memphis. The president's announcement is getting some pushback from state Democrats. Senator London Lamar from Memphis called the move a Band-Aid and not a long-term solution for public safety. In a statement, she said, quote, when the troops leave, crime issues will come right back because Trump is choosing cheap political theater over the hard work of strengthening a community. Senator Lamar says crime is down and calls on the president to restore police and crime prevention funding.
Yeah, the Memphis Police Department reported major violent crime was down over 17% in the first 6 months of last year, or of this year, that is, compared to the same period in 2024. An immigration and customs enforcement officer shot and killed a suspect today just outside of Chicago. Here's Luke Barr.
ICE officers say somebody who's in the country illegally has a history of criminal records with reckless driving. They attempted to stop that person. This person stopped initially, then they continued on, hitting an ICE officer, dragging that ICE officer a couple of feet. The ICE officer, according to DHS, feared for their life. They took out their weapon. They shot, ultimately killed that person who was driving the car.
Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker calling for what he calls a full factual accounting of the incident. He says he wants to ensure transparency and accountability. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Antioch, I see a crash 24 eastbound at Harding Place, then 40 westbound in Mount Juliet. Over there, that's exit 226. I'm Ken Weaver.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What's going on, friends? My name is Matt Murphy. This is the Matt Murphy Radio Show. Final couple of hours before we'll call it a weekend. It's been a heck of a week, friends. I mean, it's been an incredible, emotional week. And I truly can't thank you enough for being supporters, being family, being friends. We appreciate each and every one of you. I don't know why I don't say it more. I should say it more, but we are all in this together as Americans, and you are family to me, and I appreciate you deeply. It's episode 883 of our gatherings together today on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I appreciate Ken Weaver. He's back in News Closet B. We hadn't talked enough today, Weaver.
How about you?
Hey, so I got some more serious matters to discuss, but then we got nincompoops coming up. You got you a good one today?
I do indeed.
I feel good about that. I feel good about bringing nincompoops back today, but after a couple of days of hiatus, reasonably so, rightly so.
Mine's about a half-naked woman.
Ooh, that's pretty good. Mine's about a guy that peed somewhere he wasn't supposed to pee. How about that? How about that? Well, I take that back. Maybe. I got another one that I'm pretty excited about. It has nothing to do with nudity at all, but I think it's a big nincompoop. I might do help, Ken.
What?
I might do two today. I'm feeling salty.
You better save one just in case Brother Jackson steals it.
I'm feeling salty. I went to see our cohorts over there at 104.5 The Zone.
Oh, yeah?
During your top of the hour newscast.
Yeah.
I was giving Ron Slay the business, and I thought he was going to body slam me. He grabbed me in a big bear hug. He goes, "Oh, Murph, I forgot about your shoulder, Murph." That's what he said. I was like, "That's okay, Slay. I'm just going to kick you right in that bad knee." He said, "What time are you going over tomorrow, Murph?" I said, "We're leaving about 7:20. He goes, you got to leave earlier than that."
Oh, yeah. They're talking about big traffic problems there tomorrow.
Slay says we need to leave earlier, Jackson.
What time you want to leave?
Well, I don't know.
I'm ready to leave. Ken, you want to handle the rest of the show? You ready to go, Murph?
Oh, jeez.
I could go right now.
I bet you could.
Sit in that parking lot until
I don't
game
even know.
time.
How did we get here? Why are you riding with me? How the hell did we even get here?
I think it'll be fun. Good content.
It needs to be Facebook Live.
We're going to do some early Facebook Living. I promise you that.
God.
There will be some early morning. I might even Facebook Live the moment that Mrs. Beasley meets Jackson.
Yeah.
But Jackson's already talking about stealing her, and I don't like that. Jackson's too much of a dog man. He'll take my dog, I think.
I love a dog. I'm sure Mrs. Beasley would have a lovely time at home with me.
It's one of the reasons I like you. You're a dog fella. I like dog. I mean, I like Ken Weaver. Ken is such a good dog
people.
man. You cannot trust cat people. That's right. But I mean, I've said for a long time I like cats. You just have to. You just have to. Never mind.
Cats are more roommates than companions.
I used to make a joke, and that's right. I used to make a joke about cats, and I stopped years ago because cat people got so mad. It was so obviously a joke. Can I tell you what the joke I used to say that I don't say anymore?
Yeah, go for it. Go ahead and tell the joke that's going to get people mad at you.
So people, I say I'm a dog guy, I'm not a cat guy, I don't like cat people. And people are like, what do you have against cats? And I was like, well, I don't have anything against cats. It's just you have to boil them before you put them on the grill, otherwise they're tough. Obviously, I don't eat cat. It was a joke, but people get so mad, so I stopped doing it.
That is a horrible joke.
I don't tell that joke anymore.
Good.
Cats are on a case-by-case basis.
Whether Ken eats them.
No.
Jackson. Stop. Just stop.
Sorry.
I did. Y'all blame me. That one's on me. I did that. Jack. I know that.
Hand me that sriracha sauce.
Jackson's just. Just slather it on there. Mustard. You got to put in a mustard wash. Y'all stop. No, Jackson, stop. Mustard. Anyway, the most controversial thing I've said today is that I put mustard on my French fries. I said that on the Buck Rising show when they had me on to be the obligatory Georgia guy.
Oh, did y'all talk about...
We talked about the fact that Buck Rising eats French fries with a fork and knife. And Buck gets very defensive. And I said, look, I don't have a problem with you eating. And he goes, I don't like the grease on my hands. I don't like the grease on my... And I'm like, I don't have a problem that you eat French fries with a fork. I do have a problem that you eat French fries with a fork and a knife.
And a bib.
Like, why is a fork not good enough? And so in the midst of that, I said, well, I eat French fries with mustard, and people will look at me funny. I don't like ketchup. But sriracha sauce, that's good on just about anything.
Yes, sir.
Even cat. 13 after the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Okay, back to the real stories. I mean, obviously, we've got latest developments on Charlie Kirk and the shooter of Charlie Kirk. According to the late-breaking news this afternoon, we're getting told that the alleged shooter's father, and, there's like one or two people that are mad that I'm saying alleged. Folks, this is simply the way that you do it. And I know that you want to believe that you got your guy, but I find it to be, look, this is different than the cut and dry case in Charlotte, North Carolina. I would use that as an example. I'm watching that individual on closed circuit television commit the act. I don't have a problem saying that he's the stabber. In this circumstance, I understand that we feel like we have our guy, but one way or the other. But anyway, the purported shooter in the case apparently came from a stable home in Utah, and we're told that his family was middle of the road, if not right-leaning in terms of their political beliefs, and that he was, and I'm not going to name him because I don't want to glorify anything that he has done, but he has been radicalized, particularly online on social media over the last year, 2 years or so. The information about the firearm surfaced about 24 hours after Charlie Kirk was shot and killed during his speaking engagement in Utah. Law enforcement officials have now announced that a 22-year-old Utah man is believed to be responsible for the political assassination. Governor Spencer Cox called it a political assassination, and that's exactly what it was. Cox said this is certainly about the tragic death, assassination, political assassination of Charlie Kirk, but it's also much bigger than an attack on an individual. It's an attack on all of us. It is an attack on the American experiment. Man, oh man, this guy is impressive. I like the way the governor is speaking about this matter. I think he is spot on in his analysis and in his leadership in the state of Utah. The FBI Salt Lake City field office released an image Thursday of the man that they said was a person of interest. And soon after that, apparently the man's father, we're being told this afternoon, the 22-year-old man that was arrested, his father saw the video or saw the still shots, recognized that it looked a lot like his son, and confronted his son. And then the son ultimately was apprehended after the family contacted police and said that they believed. So the father turned his son in, and good for him. Obviously, it's the right call. Obviously, it's the thing to do. And frankly, I can't imagine what the father's going through right now, or the family's going through. I mean, it pales in comparison to what the Kirk family goes through. It pales in comparison to what family and friends of Charlie Kirk are going through, no doubt. But my goodness, it has to be troubling, to say the least, if you are a part of this family and you recognize that your child, your 22-year-old son, became radicalized. And by the way, for those that are trying to suggest, well, he came from a right-wing family, so he's right-wing. No. He was radicalized, and we want to find out by whom and how. And it makes it worse. It makes it worse. It makes it worse because you see how easily online social media platforms can radicalize individuals. You see how easily some of the language being used on the part of the left can turn otherwise normal people into cold-blooded killers. And we need to recognize this. Does this mean that the people that are saying these words that radicalize this individual are necessarily directly responsible? No. But they should understand that their language has consequences too. So let's delve into it. George is held for a long, long time. George, thank you for your patience. How are you? Hey, George, you still there?
Hello?
Hey, is this George?
Yes, sir.
George, thank you for your patience,
Can
brother.
you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hey, brother, man. It's good to talk to you. This is my second time calling in. And, I wanted to talk about all this stuff going on with Charlie Kirk. And, man, it just breaks my heart. I was a big fan of his. And, what y'all have done, you, Brother Chris, and Ken, and Chad, and all of you with WTN is just so wonderful. I'm a big fan of the network, and a big fan of all your shows. I listen to y'all all day pretty much. And I just think it makes me so angry to see networks like ABC say that there hasn't been a determined motive behind the attack and the murder of this great constitutional activist and just a great man of faith that had the guts to go out and tell people about Jesus. And I've reached out to y'all on X, and Charlie wouldn't want anybody to lash out in violence, because he was a man of faith first, but he was also a constitutionalist. So he would be all for you protecting yourself, but he would not want you to lash out in violence against these deranged people. And I don't think that all Democrats are deranged. But there's definitely a lot more people out there that are just sick in the head, and they don't they don't live in reality.
No, I mean, I think it's well spoken on your part, George. There are a lot of people that are sick in the head. We see more and more of them because of the prominence of social media platforms like Instagram, like X, like Facebook, and others. I'm sad to note how many of them there are. I would like to believe that there aren't as many who are sick in the head like this, who would applaud it, if not condone it. But for the most part, and I try to remind my conservative and libertarian friends, if we're speaking politically, I try to remind them that that's not all Democrats, that's not all liberals, that's not even most of them. Frankly, one of the reasons that you see so many young people, and Charlie Kirk was such a primary reason for this, but one of the reasons that you see them open to what Kirk had to say to them on college campuses was because they do feel left behind by the radicalized left, and how the leadership within the Democrat Party seems to want to cater to a small, if not minuscule, portion of the American population with regard to things like, underage transgenderism or abortion on demand until birth and other matters like this. They've lost the narrative. And they're losing young people in droves. And I believe that this action this week will only further push rational, reasonable 20-somethings to more conservative-minded thought. What do you think, George?
I agree completely. And I'll add, in my personal opinion, I was in public school my entire young life, and I believe all the stuff that they pushed in for a long time until I got saved. And, I accepted Jesus, and I started to think differently. And I hate that this had to happen in order for so many people to wake up and want to stand for what Charlie was trying to do. But at the same time, has a purpose for everything, and I'm sure that he's with the Lord. And I didn't
Well,
know
one of the what I will say, we're kind of losing your connection there, George, and I appreciate the call and I appreciate your patience for holding as long as you did. But I will say this: one of the, it is solace, and certainly for people of faith, for believers in the blessings of Jesus Christ, it is warm solace that Charlie not only was a person of faith, but regularly and publicly reaffirmed his faith. And so for those of us who do believe, there's a place for him in heaven. And now you're still broken about it. You still hate to lose him on this earth. You especially are broken for his family and for his inner circle of friends, but most especially his wife and children. Your heart just breaks for them. Breaks for personal friends of his, like our own Chris Hand. And God bless Chris and his family and what he's going through. I mean, it's so much. It feels personal for all of us. It feels personal for America. I mean, all right, so if you start there where America was assaulted, the very fabric of our country was assaulted, the very basic concepts of your ability to express yourself without fear of reprisal from government or without fear of political violence. You take that, and we all feel like this is personal. But then you boil that down to his circle of friends, people that knew Charlie, that worked with him, like our own Chris Hand. And I can't imagine that pain. And then you boil it down even further to his beautiful wife and his young children, children who will grow up with stories of their father as opposed to any further memories of their father. I'll say this too. There's another family that's broken, sadly, in a different way. I mean, I feel like this. If we understand the story of a father turning in his own son, only thing to do, sure, but still, how gut wrenching and painful was that you had to make the call to authorities and say, "My son did this to another human being, and you need to come and lock him up." That man is a broken person too. And I pray for him just like I pray for the family of Charlie Kirk. 25 after the hour at Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I believe in Grace Point. I believe in the way that they do their business. And I believe that if you don't have a primary care physician, you need to look toward Franklin and Grace Point Healthcare. Affordable, convenient, and comprehensive medicine in a direct pay format. They are your primary provider. They treat the entire family from newborns to seniors, and they can see you today or tomorrow. They have turnaround service unlike any other place in the medical field, in the healthcare industry. Why? Well, because they don't believe in long waiting room visits. They don't believe in keeping you in the waiting room for a long period of time. They don't believe in having to see you next week or next month. That's just not the way that it is at Grace Point Healthcare. They're going to see you when you need them. They're going to see you when you're sick. And insurance companies do not get in the way of their treatment. That is why they are a direct pay format. But if you enroll in the Smart Care plan, did you know that your HSA will pay for that? That's right. Thank you to the big, beautiful bill in that regard. 599-6868 for more information. That's 599-6868 to schedule your next medical appointment. Modern medicine delivered the old-fashioned way at Grace Point Healthcare.
Charlie Kirk, suspect in custody, and we'll let you know what is happening with the Ryan Ruth trial. You know, the Florida man who authorities say was going to assassinate President Trump. That's coming up at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It's my understanding, not to get in front of Ken Weaver's newscast, it's my understanding that Ryan Ruth is trying to, he's representing himself. What was the old saying? What's the old saying is that individual that represents himself has a fool for a lawyer. So, good luck with all of that. And 7788 writes in and says, I've been away from the television and radio most of the day. Can you give me an update on all of the rioting, brick throwing, and looting going on as a response to the assassination of Charlie Kirk?
Yeah.
And I mean, look, obviously, your point is well taken. If you don't believe that these rabble-rousers take advantage of certain negative situations to their own benefit, then look at what the super texter just said. It's absolutely the truth. Man, oh man, I could only imagine what would be going down if the circumstances were different, and I don't even care to imagine it. I don't even care to contemplate it. We'll get to Donnie. We'll get to many of your calls coming up. We've got nincompoops coming up as well, but right now it's time for the real news on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes.
This is a special report from ABC News. I'm Michelle Franzen. 2 days after a gunman fired off one shot, hitting and killing conservative activist Charlie Kirk at a speaking event at Utah Valley University, Utah's Governor Spencer Cox today says they have a suspect in custody, identified as Tyler Robinson. The governor credited the 22-year-old's family for reaching out to law enforcement. Cox also says authorities analyzed spent and unspent cartridges from a rifle found in the woods near campus.
Inscriptions on a fired casing read, "Notices bulges, capital OWO, what's this question mark?" Inscriptions on the 3 unfired casings read, "Hey fascist, exclamation point, catch, exclamation point."
FBI Director Kash Patel says there was an overwhelming public response with over 11,000 leads. Patel says there's no indication so far anyone beyond Robinson was involved in the killing. A motive is still unknown. This is ABC News.
Well, prosecutors said they plan to rest their case next week against the man accused of trying to assassinate President Trump on his Florida golf course last year.
After just 2 days of testimony, federal prosecutors have called a total of 13 witnesses to testify in the trial of Ryan Ruth. They allege she meticulously planned to assassinate Donald Trump on his West Palm Beach golf course last year, though his attempt was thwarted when a Secret Service agent spotted him while Trump was just 1 hole away. Ruth, who's representing himself, said he plans to present a brief case next week focusing on his character and peacefulness. He's on a tight leash after being criticized by the judge this week for making multiple inappropriate and irrelevant statements to the jury. From Fort Pierce, Florida, Peter Haralambous, ABC News.
And Memphis Mayor Paul Young, not a fan of President Trump's announcement this morning. He will deploy to the National Guard to the city to curtail crime. The mayor there citing Memphis Police Department reporting that major violent crime was down by over 17% in the first 6 months of this year compared to the same period last year. But the FBI says that overall and compared to the rest of the nation, Memphis violent crime was the highest last year. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Antioch got a crash off on the right shoulder 24 eastbound at Harding Place. In Mount Juliet, we've got 2 crashes in the same area. That's 40 westbound approaching exit 226. I'm Ken Weaver.
Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy for USS, which stands for United Structural Systems. Folks, it's as simple as this. At USS, they understand that your foundation if it needs repairing, it's never going to go away. I mean, right? This issue's not going to go away. And so with USS, they deal with the things that are most basic to your home, like your foundation, like your waterproofing needs. Bottom line is this. We don't know what we don't know, and we certainly don't want to be sold something that we don't need. Well, here's the deal. They don't do that. They give you peace of mind at USS. At USS, they're the company that has over 30,000 satisfied residential customers. They've made that happen because they come to your home. You get problem solvers when they do. They deal with the issues at hand. They do not try to upsell you on anything. They just repair the foundation, repair the waterproofing, or repair your concrete by leveling it. That's what they do. Homeowners trust USS. Since 1994, they've been keeping homes stable and dry, and you could be next. Call 615-488-7855, 488-7855 for USS.
I'm Pastor Alan Jackson, and I'm excited to invite you to join me for my brand new show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Every Sunday night from 7 to 8, I'll be talking about the week's news and headlines, but through a biblical lens. Together, we'll look at what's happening in our world and how God's Word can guide us through it. Join me, Pastor Alan Jackson, Sunday evenings at 7 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and you can listen on iHeartRadio and tune in.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You might be hearing that Donald Trump is preparing some form of action in the form of the National Guard in Memphis, Tennessee. Now, obviously, we've been reporting that from the Super Talk 99.7 WTN newsroom. Ken, I've not gotten up to date on this story as perhaps I should be. So, Donald Trump is considering Memphis as his next stop with the National Guard. Do we have any word as to whether or not he's coordinating with the governor of the state, Governor Bill Lee?
Yeah, there seems to be, because it says that Governor Lee, in a statement, frames this as a continuation of a multi-pronged federal and state effort that has already arrested hundreds of violent criminals.
Absolutely love it if that is the case. I mean, Memphis is obviously, sadly, just a cesspool of crime. The local officials have not been able to handle it. They've mishandled it, frankly, for years. State officials are stymied when they attempt to step in and assist local officials. And so if it's time for the governor to step in with the assistance of federal authorities, that is the way that you do it, right? If you have a governor that is consistent with the president in his belief that we need to do something to protect those citizens in those areas, let's go. Now, I've said the rule of law matters, and I stand by that. And so if a governor stands against a president trying to do that, like, for example, J.B. Pritzker or whatever the hell his name is in Chicago and Illinois, well, that's a different matter. And that might present a legal challenge for the president to overcome. But if a governor is ready, willing, and able, and the governor allows a president or works with a president to bring in the National Guard to solve an emergency situation, and I think we'd be hard-pressed to say that the crime problem in Memphis is not an emergency situation. I mean, my goodness, murders and robberies and rapes and criminal behavior and violence. Why would you not want to stop the lawlessness? Well, sadly, Representative Justin Pearson does not want to stop the violence. And we're going to share with you a visit that old Justin had. You know, he's one of the two Justins with a three bullhorn trio, Pearson and Jones and Johnson. They love going on MSNBC. They love talking to these liberals. And Justin Pearson was on earlier saying that it was a racist move on the part of Governor Bill Lee and a racist move on the part of the President of the United States to target Memphis. What, like, because Memphis isn't crime-ridden? Nobody's talking about the color of anybody. I want to protect people of all colors, law-abiding citizens of any ethnic background or socioeconomic background from the crime that is riddled through your city. More on that coming up in a moment, but right now, and we'll get to your calls on Charlie Kirk, but right now, I feel like it's a palate cleanser that we all need. It's been a heavy week. It's been a rough week. I think we could all use a few nincompoops in our lives.
Yes, sir.
Nincompoops in
Nincompoops in the news.
In the news. On Super Talk 99.7 WTN, it's an opportunity for us to take a look around this great state of Tennessee, around these United States of America, around the globe. We find the nincompoops where they live and where they breathe. We present them to you. Ken Weaver presents a nincompoop. Jackson Williams presents a nincompoop and is a nincompoop. Matt Murphy presents a nincompoop.
I don't think Jackson caught that.
I don't think he did either.
I'm working here.
And then you get to vote. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You can go back and listen to the tape later on, Jackson. I know you like to listen to the show to go to sleep by. So you listen later and you tell me what you think about that little jam.
Oh, I heard it. I just couldn't respond because I was working getting your pretty face on camera.
I slipped that in there. Oh,
yes,
yeah.
sir.
Oh, yeah. All right. So I have no idea. We did not do nincompoops yesterday because I was out at the Charlie Daniels event. We didn't do it the day before for obvious reasons, the death of Charlie Kirk. So I have no idea where we are in terms of the batting order. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to let you fellas decide which one of y'all want to go first.
Brother Weaver, you go ahead and go first.
There you go.
Are you boys sure?
Yes.
Okay.
Confident.
I will. All right, here we go. This happened right here in Nashville.
Uh-oh.
After Eric Clapton concert, pantless woman drove car with missing wheel through Nashville.
Missing what?
Wheel.
Oh.
Steering or tire?
Tire.
Oh, okay. Easier.
Yeah, it should have been a tire. But anyway, here we go. A woman faces charges after police said she drove drunk through Nashville in a car that was missing a wheel. Police said they watched a white Jeep Cherokee with damage to the front right tire so severe that only the rim remained. Drive over a curb and then stop in traffic. This happened the night of September 8th. Officers pulled over 64-year-old Cindy Meeks on Korean Veterans Boulevard at 4th Avenue. The officers noticed she was not wearing pants or shoes. Police said Meeks admitted to drinking 5 drinks at the Eric Clapton concert at Bridgestone Arena. Don't you usually just say, I just had a few?
Just 2, right? I just had 2 beers,
Yeah.
officer.
Meeks was surprised when officers told her she had hit something while driving.
What?
The officer said she failed a field sobriety test. And while waiting for a blood test to be completed, police said Meeks got out of her chair and then kicked an officer multiple times in the midsection.
Uh-oh.
Meeks was eventually arrested and charged with driving under the influence, resisting arrest, and assault on an officer. She did not know where her pants or shoes were.
So she did all of this pantsless.
Yeah, she didn't. Yeah, she had a shirt, but no pants or shoes.
So we're having a Winnie the Pooh situation here?
Or Donald Duck. I was thinking Donald, but Winnie works too. So underpants. Any word on?
I don't hear anything about underpants. Maybe she did have some underpants on, but no pants or shoes.
Could you say she was drunker than Cooter Brown?
Oh, yeah.
But she'd only had 5 drinks.
There's no question.
See, Matt, this is why I'm riding with you.
Why? Because you don't want this to end up being
I don't
you?
want to be an nincompoop.
Man, you know what? It would make my life if I got to do a Jackson Williams nincompoops in the news story. It would make my life. Look. Old Hickory man arrested in Knoxville, Tennessee, running pantsless from Neyland Stadium. That sort of thing.
Pretty much.
Oh, with your Vols T-shirt on and no drawers.
Just a big old orange shirt.
Just running.
And a hat on.
Right across the field. Run through the tee, baby. Run through that tee.
Hey, do what you got to do.
Hey, by the way, Ken.
Yes, sir.
You know what Jackson told me earlier?
What's that?
He said when the tee, and I like the running through the tee tradition. I think it's really good.
That's a great tradition.
He said that he gets a little tear in his eye when that happens.
One single tear rolls
I heard
down.
him say that.
Yeah. Gets a little tear in his eye.
Just one.
That's sweet. Jackson, you want to go ahead and go?
No, I'll close it out. You go ahead.
I was torn. I wanted to do the story of the nincompoop that peed all over himself and $700 worth of clothing at a beachside shop in Florida. But I'm not going to do that story. I'm not going to do that story about the guy that peed all over the shop. I'm going to do this story. Y'all know about the Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes?
Oh, I had this one.
So an Oregon man has found himself to be very, very lucky and now somewhat unlucky. Because the old sweepstakes television commercial promised only Publishers Clearinghouse can make you so rich so fast. But some unlucky winners are discovering that the opposite's also true, that they can cut off the spigot, as they say, pretty quickly as well. This is what happened to John Willie, a 61-year-old Oregon man who won $5,000 a week for life from the Publishers Clearinghouse Prize Patrol in 2012. That sounds like a pretty good deal. $5,000 a week for life.
What is that? $240,000 a year before tax?
Yeah, that's a good living.
That is a good living.
Well, until this happens. According to NBC affiliate KGW8, I guess, Willie received an annual check for $260,000 every January. So they don't really give it to you every week. They just give you the annual sum. Every January, the money allowed him to retire. He bought a house on 6 acres in scenic Bellingham, Washington. But this year, for some reason, the check suddenly stopped. A few months later, after multiple inquiries, Willie learned why. The Publishers Clearinghouse has filed for bankruptcy. Willie told the television station in the turn of events, quote, feels like a nightmare. Made worse by the fact that he hasn't worked in more than a decade, can't find a job now, and has bills piling up. See, apparently, Mr. Willie just blew through this money as soon as he got it, saving nothing. Buying big-ticket items like jet skis and trailers. He still expects to lose his home. So, I don't know. There's a bunch of nincompoops in this story. I'm going to start with Publishers Clearinghouse. You can't promise to do something for life and then go bankrupt on these poor people.
Sorry, our bad.
We're out, so, no more money for you. You know those promises we made? Not so much. Hey, why don't you go ahead and file that lawsuit? You know how much that cost you, Jackson?
$140 in a crayon.
Boom. That's what it takes to file that lawsuit. And guess what?
He might need to hit up Ken Weaver for some money.
Well, he might, because he's out. And he's an nincompoop. Invest some of that money. Take a couple of bucks and invest it, dude. It's been 10 years. Goodness me. A lot of nincompoops go around in this story, but that is my nincompoop in the news. Jackson?
I'm going across the pond for this one. This one comes from BBC.
Are you going to do that voice throughout the entire...
Do it.
I can.
Do it.
Hello.
All right. Surgeon walked out of operation for relations with nurse.
Wait, what?
Surgeon walks out of operation for relations with nurse.
Damn it, man. Speak Southern. What did he do?
A doctor walked out of an operation to do it with a nurse.
Wait. I'm going to need details. Do you have them?
I have details.
That's good.
A doctor left a patient on an operating table under anesthetic to go have relations with a nurse in another room, a medical tribunal has heard.
What?
Dr. Suhail Anjum, 44, and the unnamed nurse were caught in a compromising position by a shocked colleague at Tameside Hospital in Greater Manchester. The incident in September 2023 recently came to light in a fitness to practice hearing after Dr. Anjum, who had been living in Pakistan, applied to work in the UK again. He did not dispute the evidence against him presented by the General Medical Council.
No, I did it.
During the hearing in Manchester and said his behavior had been shameful.
Have you seen this nurse?
The consultant anesthesiologist had said he needed a comfort break and asked another nursing colleague to monitor the male patient halfway through the procedure.
Whoa. A comfort break. I'm going to need a comfort break.
Instead, Dr. Anjum went to another operating theater at the hospital in Ashton-under-Lyne, where he had relations with a woman referred to in the hearing as Nurse C. Andrew Mulloy, representing the GMC, said the nurse who walked in on the pair had been shocked and quickly walked through the theater to the exit doors.
Oh, dear.
Dr. Anjum, who was gone for about 8 minutes, came back into the theater and completed his surgery.
Blimey.
I mean, did he wash up? I mean, you got to be sterile, man.
Mr. Malloy added, "It is right to say that no harm came to the patient when Dr. Anjum was absent from the theater, and the procedure went on without further incident." He said the nurse who discovered them went on to report the matter to her line manager.
I didn't use my hands. It's all right. A little shag. Right?
It's just...
All right, y'all don't vote for me. Vote for Jackson. I'm out. You can vote for
Is
Ken
it
if you want
because
to.
the Southern one? Yeah. The Southern way of...
Come on, man. Now, see, we would like to see you in the comfort area, please. Thank you.
Comfort break.
Blimey. Oh, my apologies. Apologies.
Nurse B, no, not you. Not you. Put your mask back on. Put your mask back on.
Oh, wait a minute. It's already on. And it's ugly.
You're not invited. You invited. I don't know what accent that is. But there you go. That's Nick Boops in the news. Vote Ken Weaver.
Yes.
Vote Jackson Williams. Don't vote for me. I'm not as good as the doctor who shagged the nurse during the surgery. I'm not that good. It's 52 after the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Friends, it's Matt Murphy, and we talk all the time about the Glock store and the wonderful store that we have right here in Nashville that provides you any number of different types of guns, handguns, long guns, and the like, all manner of accessories that they make. A lot of them they make right in their manufacturing department right in Nashville, Tennessee. It's no secret that I'm a supporter of the Second Amendment. I believe in it. I own guns and I carry guns. Now more than ever, we need to protect ourselves. But here's the deal, friends. You need to understand how and when to use. And that's where Shoot 270 and their indoor rooms come in. You don't shoot in a lane at the Glock store. Now, look, nobody's knocking it. I mean, that's what the other guys, some of them have it. It's just a superior way to train at the Glock store. I understand if you felt like all you had was lanes, and for a long time we did, but now we have a better way to train. Training is what you get at the Glock store in their Shoot 270 indoor shooting rooms with personalized training from accomplished instructors, engaging multiple targets at a variety of distances, drawing from concealment again and again until you no longer have to think about it. You just do it by rote, muscle memory, if you will. Owning a gun is a responsibility. Learning how to use it is a necessity, and you can do so at the Glock store. Go to shoot270.com, make an appointment, fill out a waiver, and let the training begin. Shoot 270 indoor ranges only at the Glock store. The Glock store, minutes away from the airport and worth the drive from anywhere.
Charlie Kirk suspect in custody. Memphis Mayor Paul Young doesn't like what President Trump announced this morning, and a suspect is dead and an ICE agent severely injured. These stories and more coming up at 6 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We'll get back into it in just a moment. Steve and Robert and Tracy and Donnie, y'all hang in there. Lots of votes for Jackson. A few votes for Ken Weaver, not so much for Matt Murphy, but that's okay. Can't win them all. I'd prefer to win tomorrow. You win tonight, Jackson, and I'll win tomorrow. How about that?
I'm going to have a clean sweep this weekend.
We're also going to debunk. You know, we haven't talked a lot about the Oklahoma Sooners taking on the Temple Owls, have we?
Let's not. I don't want to talk about it.
You don't want to talk about it?
No, sir.
That Mateer's good, boy.
No.
He's good. You know he's good, Ken. You know he's good. You can't say a word about it. Loan him to us this weekend, would you? I don't know. Gunner seems a little shy. A little Gunner shy. Need to pull the trigger there, Gunner. We're going to watch it all together. Hey, I will debunk some of the ridiculous claims, false claims about the assailant, the suspect alleged to have assassinated Charlie Kirk, coming up in a moment. Also, Charlie Kirk's wife, Erica Kirk, is set to address the United States of America later on tonight. We're going to tell you about that in just a moment.
Six o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes.
This is a special report from ABC News. I'm Michelle Franzen. In Utah, a 22-year-old was arrested today in the murder of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Governor Spencer Cox says images and video released showing the suspect at Utah Valley University caused his family to come forward.
A family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident.
Calls are growing to stop the political violence. ABC's Pierre Thomas says law enforcement is facing new challenges.
Make no mistake, we're in the midst of an extraordinary time, a challenging time, and what law enforcement is telling me is that they're going to have to rethink their efforts of how to apply resources to try to get on the front side of individuals like this who may be planning acts of violence.
Some lawmakers have also voiced safety concerns. This is ABC News.
Right now in Tennessee, Memphis Mayor Paul Young, not a fan of President Trump's announcement on Fox News this morning. He will deploy the National Guard to the city to curtail crime.
I want to be clear. I did not ask for the National Guard, and I don't think it's the way to drive down crime.
He cites Memphis Police Department numbers claiming to show major violent crime down by over 17% in the first 6 months of this year compared to the same period last year.
This is not a political stunt for anybody up here. We're talking about real lives. So despite the reductions that we've seen, the crime is still too high, and there's still too many victims.
Yeah, despite the positive trends, Memphis still has the highest violent crime rate in the U.S., according to FBI data. Right now, near Chicago, a suspect is dead and an ICE agent is severely injured during an enforcement operation in Franklin Park. This was Channel 5 Chicago reporter Regina Waldrop right after it happened.
Here's what multiple law enforcement agencies are telling us. They were about to pull someone over when the person took off and an agent was then dragged. We don't know what agency the agent worked for, but the car has a lot of front end damage.
So ICE officers say they tried to arrest Silverio Villegas Gonzalez, who they say was in the country illegally and had a history of reckless driving during what they call a targeted law enforcement activity this morning. That ICE agent was in stable condition. And the rise of artificial intelligence tools forcing schools to reconsider what counts as cheating.
High school and college educators say that student use of AI has become so widespread that they need to rethink how to assign and assess students. Many teachers tell the Associated Press that they have shifted all writing to the classroom. Some are returning to pen and paper exams to avoid cheating. Educators say AI is creating new confusion over what constitutes cheating. Students say they often turn to AI with good intentions for things like brainstorming
brainstorming or editing help, but sometimes it's hard to know where to draw the line.
That's Chuck Severson. And the latest news, traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Picked up a crash, Talbot's Corner. It's going to be 65 southbound there at Trinity Lane. Then in Madison, got a stalled vehicle, right shoulder blocked. Got to get over. That's Briley Parkway eastbound just past 65. And then South Nashville, police reporting a crash 440 westbound just past 24. And then in Antioch, the right shoulder blocked by a crash 24 eastbound at Harding Place. In Dixon, we've got a crash reported by the Highway Patrol 40 eastbound at exit 163. And then in Mount Juliet, still 2 accidents reported 40 westbound at exit 226. I'm Ken Weaver.
We've reached the final hour of the week on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'll get to your calls momentarily. We also have this ridiculous video, and I'll have it up on the Super Talk television side of things, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Rumble. As long as Jackson's doing his job in there, we'll have this up. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Rumble if you're watching. We've got that coming up in just a moment, but it's the final hour of our week. And we appreciate you being here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Lots to do. We have some myths about the alleged shooter in the situation, in the assassination of Charlie Kirk. We're going to get to those. And my goodness gracious, it just saying it hurts my heart. But Erica Kirk, Charlie's wife, is going to address the nation, the world. She's going to talk to those interested about her husband and his assassination. That's later on tonight. But first, a couple of rumors that are going on, and I've written these down. I put them on the note feature of my phone. Debunk some of the myths that liberals are trying to present about the alleged suspect in the assassination of Charlie Kirk, a man by the name, and I'm not going to say this name very often, but his name is Tyler Robinson. Robinson was a registered Republican. Robinson was not a registered Republican. He did not declare a political party when he registered to vote. Number 2, he donated to Donald Trump's campaign. That's going around. No, he did not. Screenshot of this donation refers to a different person of the same name. It was not 22-year-old Tyler Robinson. Number 3, reports are that he dressed up as Trump for Halloween, which is support that he liked Donald Trump. He did dress up in a way in 2017. There's a photo showing him dressed as Trump, but it's obvious that the photo is designed to mock Trump. It's him riding Donald Trump, President of the United States. That was from 2017. He is not a part of any political affiliation that is pro-Trump whatsoever. And finally, Robinson has not been wearing a pro-Trump T-shirt. That photo is digitally altered. So just at this point, it's obviously intentional that this is misinformation going around the interweb, and we just want to debunk some of that information. Now, Charlie Kirk's beloved wife, Erica Kirk, is addressing the country tonight at about 7:15 Central Time, Middle Tennessee time. Her remarks will be streamed live on all Turning Point USA platforms and on all of Charlie Kirk's social media platforms. This is a media advisory that I received in my inbox from Turning Point USA a little while ago, and it reads as follows. Erica Kirk to make her first public address. Ms. Kirk's live remarks will be live tonight, September 12th, 8:15 Eastern Time, 7:15 Central Time, streaming on Charlie Kirk and TPUSA's social media platforms. The widow of the Turning Point USA founder and CEO Charlie Kirk will deliver live remarks to the media, her first public address. It will be a public statement to the press following the suspect's arrest. The live stream, once again, will launch at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time, with remarks beginning approximately at 7:15 Central Standard Time. Any photo credit, press should credit Turning Point USA and refer to her as Ms. Erica Kirk. So that's all we have on that, but that is happening a little bit later on tonight. I have a video that I want to present to you from Representative Justin Pearson's appearance on MSNBC. Before we do that, I want to get to your calls because many of you have been holding for a long time, and I appreciate the patience that you have on the phone lines. Donnie is next up. Donnie, thank you for your call.
Hey, Matt. I'll tell you what, I was kept well entertained while I was on hold.
I'm glad.
I enjoyed listening to your last guest, Jay. I was actually on the field, too. That was my senior year at UT when we beat Florida there in overtime. So that was neat to hear.
Oh, wow.
Hear his story.
Well, isn't that cool? So I love stuff like this, and I don't mean to hijack your call, but I love this. So, I mean, just imagine you then in 98 and imagine you listening to Jay now and know that y'all were on the field together. I mean, that's just kind of cool.
It is crazy. Hey, listen, there's been a lot of talk about, and people have, some liberals on Twitter have been complaining about, I guess what you're calling it right-wing cancel culture now, because of all the number of people from all different employment areas. I mean, you have teachers, you have college deans or assistant deans, you have metro emergency workers. There was a famous barbecue place in Cincinnati. The owners who had a contract with the soccer team there to sell concessions at their stadium that have all been canceled or fired or had contracts canceled due to their just really horrible remarks here in light of or in respect to Charlie Kirk's death or his murder rather. And somebody brought up a good point. I think it was Stephen Miller when it was a liberal New York Times columnist complaining about it, and he said, "You know what? This is our riots in the street." And I thought that was great. And by the way, I enjoyed Matt Hurt too. I did tag you and him on Twitter. I go by the Twitter handle Nashville Traffic. It's Nash_the Traffic. I wanted to highlight somebody else who said something. And it's a gentleman who said in a social media post that somebody should bail Charlie's assassin out of jail, that he's a hero. And that gentleman is named Pat Pointer, and he's head of sales for commercial sales at Mercedes-Benz in Nashville here in Franklin.
Jeez.
And so if everybody go to Matt's Twitter page, I think it's in reply to one of Matt Hurt's tweets saying that he'd be on your show, and I would really appreciate a retweet of that. I'm trying to get that out. I've tagged libs of TikTok in it. I've tagged Marsha Blackburn, Clay Travis, and haven't got any bites yet. And I'm hoping somebody there can get that message going. And
You are you said you are at Nash Traffic?
Yes. There's a couple of Nashville traffic accounts.
But you
at Nash _ the traffic, and that's with a capital T and a capital T.
Okay. I'm looking for you now. Nash _ the traffic?
Yes.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah, I got you. Oh, yeah, you follow me, and I'm now following you there, Nash Traffic. You're my 1,000th. That means I have to cancel somebody because I always want to keep it below 1,000. But that said...
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's cancel the guy who's head of commercial sales at Mercedes-Benz Nashville, Pat Pointer, who called Charlie Kirk's assassin a hero.
Yeah, we can't. That's ridiculous. And look, I am not here to get anyone fired. What I am here to do is to identify the type of human beings that certain employers have in their employ. And it is up to those employers, and I think you agree too, Donnie. I mean, it's up to those employers to decide for themselves if these are the types of individuals that they want representing their companies. That's it. That's all.
Right. We're just here to highlight it. That's it. That's all I ask is that my post gets highlighted. I'm not saying to fire anybody.
I like your. By the way, I like your bio. Can I read your bio, Donnie?
Sure thing.
Donnie's bio says he's at Nash _ the traffic. It says, get off your phone, stop doing your makeup, don't block intersections, use your turn signal. The left lane is for passing. Be a decent human being. Amen, brother.
All right. Thanks, Matt. Have a good night.
Thank you very much for highlighting this. Listen, I do not believe that times of crisis and times of tragedy, I do not believe that it creates character. I think it reveals character or a lack thereof. And you know what? I didn't set up these rules. I've never talked that much about cancel culture because I think we're all responsible for our own actions. And if your actions lead to individuals look, the bottom line is this, that if I do a radio show every day and I'm not for you, then you turn off the radio and you let my employers know. You can even let the folks that sponsor the show know that you're not listening. You don't like me, right? That's one thing, to let my employers know that you don't appreciate what I'm doing. But to go the next level and say, not only do I not like you, I don't want you to be a part of this radio station any longer, so I'm going to do what I need to do to try to go after your advertisers in a way that make them nervous about what they're doing. That's a different animal. Secondarily, we're talking about opinions versus actions. We're talking about having a position on an issue like Charlie had on so many different issues, like Matt Murphy has on so many different issues, versus supporting someone who took a life. That's different. That's different. And if you want to reveal your character or your lack of character to the world, then you should expect the consequences of those revelations. And I don't shy away from that at all. Not at all. You leftists that just loved the idea of cancel culture 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago, you reap what you sow. And I hope you enjoy it. Y'all might, I would like for you to rethink the way that your mind works. I don't pretend that will happen. At very least, maybe it's time for you to rethink what you're willing to say out loud in public when you're talking about people's lives. It's gross. It's disgusting. It's irresponsible. And it might just get you fired. Steve is next up. Steve, thank you for the call.
You're welcome. Talking about alleged and suspected or person of interest, those all are similar in nature, and they're usually used prior to an arrest.
No, they're used after an arrest too, buddy.
I've
been doing this 26
years. By you guys, but I think that the accused, arrested, and charged would be more accurate and kind of tell the story more of what's going on, rather than those other ones that I think should be used prior to the arrest. After the arrest, it should be accused, arrested, or charged. That's just me.
Well,
that's how.
Why is it bothering you so much?
Because to me, it suspected. You can be charged and found innocent.
Do you know? Let me work through this then. Do you know for a 100% fact that this person shot and killed Charlie Kirk?
I do know that he is reported to have claimed that yes, he did it.
So
he has been charged.
So a media out. So you didn't answer the question. That's okay. I'm not defending this scumbag. I'm not defending this scumbag, and I think he's a scumbag. Whatever, but I do defend our basic concept of law and order, and I do defend that. I recognize that in media circles that we bear a certain level of responsibility, not convicting in the public arena an individual that is yet to face a jury of his peers per the Constitution of the United States and our system of justice.
I'm not disagreeing with that, but I think that if the person, once they're charged, forego the alleged and suspected, go with this individual is charged. He's been accused. He's been arrested.
How do you want me to, Steve? How do you want me to say it then? I mean, how do you want me to say it?
I just gave you an example.
Tell me specifically to Tyler Robbins. Tyler, how do you want me to say it? You want me to call him the shooter?
No.
Then what do you want me to say?
Because I think that for example, Tyler Roberts has been charged with the crime of, or he's been accused of the murder of.
Yeah, the alleged the word alleged is that he's been charged. That the charge is the allegation.
To me, it just seems like it would be more. It'd tell the story better if you use the phrase arrested or charged or accused.
Steve, a charge. Steve, listen to me. A charge is an allegation.
I understand that. I'm not saying that these words are all very similar, but I think that the first three words that I've mentioned are implying more that he may not have done it. You could be
nobody who's saying. I'm not saying that. And if you're hearing that the reason that I'm bristling about this, and Steve, I'm sorry, because I've gotten a number of people that are coming at me because we're using the word alleged. And I don't understand what y'all don't understand about our system of justice and how we report things, how we've always reported things.
Well, I've always been upset with that. Once the charges have been made, you need to go with charges and arrested rather than alleged, because if they all are similar, then use the ones that are more accurate. And I think being arrested or charged or accused of it is more accurate than just a suspect, because they talked to a number of people of interest which were suspects, but they were found to have not been a part of it. So therefore,
I'm baffled how what I'm saying is not. I don't understand what you're asking. I genuinely don't. So
Well,
if I talk about the suspect in the case, I'm talking about the suspect in the case. But when I say the shooter or the assassin, well, the charge is the allegation.
Okay.
So I don't understand. I don't understand why we have issue with saying the alleged assassin.
What's wrong with saying the accused or the charged?
No. The question is, what's wrong with saying the alleged assassin? Because
I think it doesn't tell the whole story.
How so? He has not been. He has not, Steve. He's yet to be convicted in a court of law by a jury of his peers.
I understand that, but has he? But has he?
There is a presumption of innocence in the United States of America.
I understand that. I'm not arguing that. But has he been charged? Yes. If he's been charged, you should go with that rather than just saying the suspect.
Well, tell me,
alleged.
when I talk about the assassin of Charlie Kirk, what word, what adjective do you want me to use? Suspected?
I would like you to, to say in there that he has been charged, because that tells us a little bit more about the story.
No. So formulate the sentence that works for you, Steve. So if I say the shooter in the case, and I have to have an adjective there because he's not a convicted shooter. He's not been convicted yet. So to be responsible in terms of reporting this news, and to, in the spirit of the rule of law, because we don't deal in the rule of the mob. We're not going to hang somebody because we believe that they did it. They go through a court process.
I understand that, and I fully agree. But I do think you're not telling the whole story when you don't say that he's been charged with the crime.
I don't know how we can be.
They talked to people that were people of interest and suspected of being a part of it, and they were found not to have been a part of it. So they were suspects. Well, you're saying he's a suspect. Well, that puts him in the same category.
He is in the same category, Steve.
No, because the other ones were arrested. Were not arrested. He was arrested.
The alleged shooter has been arrested and has been charged.
That's more helpful. So that's all I had.
I mean, I'm sorry, Steve. I don't mean to be nasty. I don't mean to end the week this way. Love you, Steve. Thank you for listening. I've just gotten a bunch of this over the last 2 hours, and I don't get it. I don't get what you're. I mean, I understand you're mad. I feel like this is an emotional outpouring because we're so mad about the death of Charlie Kirk. We're angry at whoever is responsible for this, and I get that. I get that feeling. I just. What in the world? And I just don't understand why we're picking these nits right now. But, thank you, Steve. I'm sorry if I was nasty. I'm a little short, and that's on me, and I apologize. But, my goodness. It's 26 after the hour on Super Talk. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for Nashville Safe House. Nashville Safe House has better selection of safes than anywhere else in the United States of America, and I defy you to tell me different because they've got about 200 safes in stock at Nashville Safe House. They have another 400 or so in the warehouse. I mean, they've got the right safe for you, whether it's Browning, whether it's Liberty, whether it's Fort Knox or Rhino or Superior. They've got a great safe for you, and they've got a great price point for you and a fire rating for you, and it's all right there on 4th Avenue South. Go and see them. They have professional delivery crews that are going to deliver your safe on time, and they're going to put it where you need it, and they don't use third parties with Nashville Safe House. They don't believe in it. I want you to go to NashvilleSafehouse.com. That's NashvilleSafehouse.com and allow Mark and his team to show you the safe that's going into your home. They've got one for you, and they want to see you on 4th Avenue South in Nashville. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you to the one and only Nashville Safe House. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy. Efficient Heating and Cooling is your one-stop shop for all things AC and all things heater repair. Now's that time of year. I've been talking about this week where I tell you that if your AC goes kaput, you still need it for the next few weeks at least. And so you need to call Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling because you don't want to pay for a new unit now at the end of the season. You want to get through the rest of the season. It's also the time of year that you call for maintenance, and that maintenance is going to be on the heater. It's a once-a-year deal, $125 or less for Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling. That's their maintenance commitment to you. For residential properties, no matter how many units you have on said property. Now, at some point you have to replace, and if that time comes, you know that Jeff Eddy's going to tell you the truth, and they are an Elite Pro partner with Rheem. They can find the right product for you and your family, and they'll get it installed as inexpensively as possible. 615-784-4424, 784-4424, or efficienthvac.net. All right, I don't know if I'll get to this. I don't know if I'll get to this video. Maybe I should try. Can you give me a little PIP picture in picture there? I want to try to see if I can get to a little bit of this video. This is Justin Pearson acting like a complete idiot on MSNBC.
Pearson, your reaction?
Yeah, I mean, look, we do not want to see our community being occupied by the military, and we don't want to see over-policing. The solution to the problems that are being articulated is not to increase the number of police, it's to increase the number of resources to actually reduce poverty, to actually educate our population.
All right, so I'm just going to pause him there. You hear what he just said? He said the solution to the crime problems in Memphis is not to increase the numbers of police or go over policing. It's to increase resources to reduce poverty. So his suggestion is if these folks had more money, they wouldn't steal money or items or food or I don't know what they're stealing or murder people or rape people. You hear what this guy's saying here?
Reduce poverty, to actually educate our population, our children, for the opportunities of the future, and is to make sure that people have a living wage so that some of the crimes that they commit, literally for the need to survive, do not happen.
Okay, so the murders and the rapes and the other violent crimes that are happening in Memphis, people are doing those just because they need to survive, according to Representative Justin Pearson, which is a total and complete lie, but whatever.
No, that gun violence is one of the most significant issues and epidemics in our country. I got expelled because of it. right? Children under 18 are most likely to die from a bullet than cancer or car accidents. That means laws have to change at the state level. That Governor Bill Lee, Speaker Sexton, Lieutenant Governor Rand McNally need to work on to reduce the amount of access people have to firearms, and that reduces ultimately the amount of crimes that get committed.
Okay, so his suggestion is that if he was right, if Justin Pearson was correct, that there is a direct correlation between the number of firearms and deaths by firearms, then why do we not see the same level of violent crime in the in the rural areas as opposed to in Memphis or maybe in Nashville, Tennessee? I mean, per capita, the rate of firearm death, the rate of violent crime is way, way down in the rural areas. Why? Why is that? Leadership? Population density? It's not because of availability of guns, I can tell you that.
But you can't pass laws that say, hey, it's okay for you to have guns in your car, and then you complain about people breaking into cars for the firearms that they find there.
Sir, we're not passing any laws saying that it's okay to have guns in your car. That law is called the Second Amendment of the Constitution of the United States of America, and your automobile is considered your personal property. And no, I would not recommend that people leave guns in their cars because those guns get stolen quite often.
We have to deal with the systemic root causes of the problems, and black communities should not be the place and the pawns for an authoritarian, wannabe dictator, white supremacist game. And that's
okay. So you're still using that language after a man was assassinated earlier this week? So you're cool with that? Dehumanizing our president of the United States of America and his legal authority to work with the governor of this state, Bill Lee, to reduce crime in Memphis. You're arguing against reducing crime, friend. You're arguing against protecting law-abiding citizens in your own district.
That's what we're finding right now with Donald Trump and Bill Lee. And so our resistance has to be vocal, it has to be clear, it has to be coordinated, and it has to show people that we are serious about defending our democracy. These are not benign acts. They are all intentional in an effort to let us be lulled to sleep as our country moves from a democracy into an authoritarian dictatorship.
Okay, an election happened last year. What are you talking about? How exactly are we moving to an authoritarian dictatorship? Would someone ask Justin? I've invited him on the show repeatedly. He refuses to come on the show. Would someone ask him this? I don't understand how is that happening? Why? Because the governor has the authority to move the National Guard into areas where there's an emergency crime situation? Is that what you're talking about? Because the governor's always had that authority, man. Do you not understand the rules of the road here?
Man cares only about his power, keeping it at all costs, and running through any community and hurting all the people as he does it. In D.C., they brought the National Guard, but you know also who came? ICE. We are going to see this repeating.
But yeah, ICE. Yes, of course, we're trying to root out those that are not legally in the United States of America. That's called following the law.
Over and over again, the terrorism of our communities, and we have to stand united, and we have to fight back against it. But if we
so he's calling law and order. He just called ICE terrorists. He's using the same type of language. This is the type of language that inspires crazy people to assassinate people. Justin Pearson.
we do not deal with root causes of poverty, we will never solve the issues that ultimately lead to criminality. And if we do not deal with state houses that refuse to pass laws because the National Rifle Association, the Tennessee Firearms Association, and all the other ones have a hold on Governor Bill Lee, have a hold on all of these other elected officials like Cameron Sexton, if we do not deal with those root causes in our legislatures, we're going to see the proliferation and the perpetuation of gun violence in the ways that we have as well.
Gun violence is down in Washington, D.C. since Donald Trump took over. I don't know if my buddy here knows that or not. Let's get him out of here. Hey, get him out of here. I don't need him anymore. What a load. 40 after the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Who's held the longest? Has it been? I know it's Robert. Tracy's right behind. Hey, Robert, how are you?
Hey, can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to say thank you, Matt Murphy, because your call that you took from that guy Nicholas the other day, that was one of the most beautiful moments I've seen on the air with your show.
Well, thank you, sir. I think about Nicholas. I hope he's still listening, and I hope he still hears what I had to say to him. I mean, I am Charlie Kirk. He is Charlie Kirk. Yeah.
You're Charlie Kirk now.
Yes, that's right.
Beautiful.
That's right.
Well, one of the things I want to say as far as things that people can do that are good things they can do is, first of all, we know Charlie Kirk is not going to be the last one to boldly go where few have gone before on the topic. And I think when these people get up to do the same thing Charlie did, people need to go to these events. They need to be peaceful, and they need to pull their cameras. If they're going to have their camera phones on them, pull them out, start recording the area, because if something else happens, then who knows? They might actually catch someone before they do something stupid, because that's one of the nice things about the digital age is we actually have the means to catch these people before they do something. So it's like, don't just sit there filming what's going on, but rotate around, check out the whole area, see if you can spot something ahead of time. In other words, be vigilant with your camera, not with physical. And then it was a really sad thing. I've got family and friends out in Utah that I had to call and check on to make sure they were okay. So, and I used to work for Utah Transit Authority out there before I moved back to Tennessee, and I used to drive one of the buses in and out of the UVU there a lot, so I know the area well.
Mm-hmm.
That was just kind of surprised to see somewhere I used to walk around something like that happen like that. But I just encourage people to continue going to these people's events and pulling that camera out and, try to cover blind spots. I'm not going to recommend anyone do anything about it other than film it and let someone of authority know if they see something, you see something, you spot something, say something. Get near, find authority and let them know, hey, here's my camera.
That's right. I mean, you've got to be vigilant, and you've got to make sure that. And frankly, I would go a step further, Robert. And thank you for the call this afternoon. That in places, well, let's put it this way: I've never seen a gun-free zone. I've heard about them, but I've never seen one in person. I know that there are some areas that prohibit me from keeping and bearing arms and protecting myself and acting as the first responder. I don't go to many of those places. I will continue to do what is necessary to protect myself and to make sure that I am vigilant and ready in the event that we find ourselves in a negative circumstance. And I encourage everyone else to do that too. Everyone. We need more guns in society. Good guys with guns. Is that such a outlandish statement? I don't know. I just saw the corner of my eye. I got a Justin on the YouTube chat that's saying that Justin Pearson gives Justins a bad name. Justin Jones too. A lot of Justin. I mean, there's not a lot of good Jacksons out there either. Justins, Jacksons, hard to find. Hard to find. I'm going to get to as many as I can, and then I'm going to talk to Jackson about his game predict. Are we betting something on this game, by the way?
You set the terms.
What do you want to do?
I'm down for pretty much anything.
I mean, opposing team gear seems the easiest thing to do.
Yeah, I'll wear a Georgia hat on Monday if they win. You'll wear a Tennessee one.
All right. And that's fair enough. A little public embarrassment on the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Tracy is next. Hello, Tracy. Thank you for waiting.
Hey, thank you.
Yes,
I don't want to get off on a quick tangent. I want to talk about Charlie, but in regard to that audio play that you just had, the audio, I guess that's the mayor of Memphis. Is that correct?
So a General Assembly representative from Memphis.
Okay, well, let's just say it like it is. He brought up the word poverty and blacks. I didn't, so I'm going to bring it up. He said poverty in the black community is the reason for the violence. No, that is not the reason for the violence. If you go back into the 80s and the 70s and the 60s and the 50s, the black communities were way more impoverished, and they didn't have the crime. He doesn't want to talk about the real issue, and the issue is families not having father figures.
Amen, brother. Amen.
That's the problem, but they don't want to say it. They want to come up with all these other excuses that are lies. But I'm telling you, I'm an older guy, and this is spreading to the white community too. If you don't have a father in the home for your children, there's no guarantee they're going to come out right. And you can look at this shooter that killed Charlie, but you damn well sure improve the chances of your child becoming the salt of the earth. Now then, I want to get on to talking about Charlie. I don't have feelings anymore, so if I stepped on some toes, then that's just tough. My feelings are shot. I have now lost my faith in America. When I first heard about this, I worked in manufacturing on night shift, and I try to turn to music for solace. And for whatever reason, I haven't heard this song in a long time, but a song came to mind, and it was the song by, I think it was Dion DiMucci. I may have butchered his last name. It's called Abraham, Martin, and John. And my mind and heart wanted me to add Charlie to that. It talks about how the good, they die young. And then it made me realize, in regard to hate, if we had social media back in the day of when Martin Luther King Jr. was shot and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Was shot and Bobby Kennedy was shot, you would have had the same kind of hate. It's just it couldn't reach as many people. The hate was there. And it's made me realize we have made no progress since then. Since the time Martin Luther King Jr. was killed, we've made no progress as a country. And then it got me thinking a step further as a species. When you go back thousands of years, as a species, we have made no progress. We are the only species that has ever lived on this planet that is killed because of jealousy and anger and greed. And all this does is this brings Charlie's death, for me, it just brings the real issue to the surface. And it's devastating to feel ashamed of your kind and your species. We have made no progress in this country. I thought we had.
You don't think wait, hold on. I'm time limited, Tracy.
Technology.
Tracy, I'm time limited. I'm very time limited in the conversation. I'm almost out of time. You don't think I'm just trying to make sure I'm hearing you correctly. You don't think we've made any progress in America since 1968?
Not in regard to hate, no.
Well, yeah, there were. I do. I mean, I think that certain groups of people have allowed the hate to fester in themselves for a long time. But I it's fine. That's okay that we can disagree on that. I just disagree with you. I think since 1968 we've made tremendous progress in terms of how people treat other people, especially when it comes to the color of their skin. It is 53 after the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The Tennessee Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center. I don't think that young Jackson is going to be getting a good night's sleep Saturday night. I don't believe that it can be solved by an oral appliance from the Tennessee Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center. But I might call Dr. Brian McLaughlin and ask him all about it, because if it could help him sleep better, we have a 3D printed oral appliance. I mean, it's pretty cool, right? They scan your mouth. They use 3D technology to create an oral appliance specific to your shape, your size of your mouth, and they utilize this to help you sleep better. Your airway stays open, your jaw's a little forward, you breathe throughout the night, you sleep better, you get more energy in the morning. It's all around a better opportunity for you to sleep better and snore less. That's what it's all about at the Tennessee Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center. Go to TennesseeSleep.com. That's TennesseeSleep.com. Let's go. Let's go. We got seconds left on the show. Jackson, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good, Matt Murphy.
That's good. You glad the week is done? I mean, I know you're working on Sunday and all.
Yeah.
You glad the week is done? You excited about tomorrow?
Tomorrow we're going to have a great time, bud.
I think we're going to have a good time as well. We will be live over the course of the weekend on social media platforms. You can find us on the X Machine or on the Facebook as we anticipate the big game tomorrow afternoon at Neyland Stadium. That's Jackson and myself. I appreciate all of you. I really do. It's been a hell of a week. And look, if the week has taught us anything, is that we ought to be able to have conversations, political discourse, sometimes in an aggressive manner or in a robust manner, but at the same time, be friends at the end. I love each and every one of you. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I hope to talk to you again on Monday. Until then, have a good weekend. Go Dogs. See ya.
Go Vols.
Go Dogs.
Go Vols.
And go Dogs.